Chapter 719. Chapter 719. Unafraid, damn it. Chang Kuin, didn't you tell me that Dongwu College doesn't have a supreme being? What's going on? Sensing the terrifying aura coming from afar, the black-robed cultivator cursed. Although he cursed, he would not foolishly stay here. He immediately retreated, wanting to leave this place as soon as possible. I don't King know what's going on either. Chang Kuin was also suffering in silence. He had stayed in Dongwu College for so many years, but he had indeed not seen a supreme being before. Forget about a supreme being, he had not even seen a middle manifestation realm martial artist. CK. Chang Kuin's expression changed when he saw the terrifying aura approaching. In order to escape, he even used all his strength. Old ancestor Jiao and Mu Feng did not flee like Chang Kuin. In fact, their initial thought was very simple, which was to quickly escape. However, before they could move, a familiar voice rang in their ears. I am Ningyu. Boom! Hearing the voice in their ears, old ancestor Jiao and the others narrowed their eyes, their faces filled with disbelief. At this moment, there was only one thought in their minds. Is this a joke? Ningyu's cultivation was only at the early Yin-Yang realm, and this terrifying aura could only be displayed by a supreme being. Swoosh! However, what happened next completely overturned their understanding of the world. They saw a figure approaching from afar, appearing in front of them in an instant. This figure was very, very familiar to them. Ningyu. This figure was Ningyu. Moreover, the strangest thing was that Ningyu's cultivation was still at the early Yin-Yang realm, but the aura of a supreme being constantly surged out from his sleeves. Could it be that Ningyu needs royal-grade origin crystals for this? Suddenly, Mu Feng seemed to have thought of something, and his face was filled with shock. Not long ago, Ningyu said that he wanted a large amount of royal-grade origin crystals. At that time, Mu Feng could be said to have no choice but to give it a try. He handed the treasure key to old ancestor Jiao and let old ancestor Jiao bring Ningyu to the treasure vault. Who would have thought that a single decision back then would actually create a terrifying existence? This transaction was really worth it. Damn, he's finally here. Compared to Mu Feng's shock, the silver winged dragon and the twin-horned beast were much more rational. After all, Ningyu had already informed them beforehand. They knew that Ningyu would not speak without thinking. He would definitely have a way to deal with the creation realm martial artists. Now that Ningyu was here with the aura of a supreme state being, they could finally relax and recuperate properly. Ningyu, don't forget what you promised us. Because he was in a good mood when Ningyu brushed past him, the silver-winged dragon even whispered, "One Xingyang pill." Don't worry, I won't go back on my word. Ningyu did not stop. After he said this, he immediately chased after the black-robed cultivator. The emperor-level aura of the red demon sword could only last for 3 minutes. In other words, Ningyu had to severely injure or even kill the black-robed cultivator within 3 minutes. Otherwise, it would be a disaster for everyone today. As for the other 2 peak early-stage creation realm martial artists, Ningyu did not have the time to bother with them for the time being. Even if they fled, Ningyu would not care. Instead, he would be very happy. Life and death palm. As Ningyu was very fast, he arrived in front of the black-robed cultivator in the blink of an eye. The next moment, Ningyu grabbed at the air with his right hand. A violent supreme state aura appeared on his palm, and he pushed it forward. Fight! Looking at the palm that was just inches away from him, the black-robed cultivator gritted his teeth. Violent yuan qi surged from his wrist and collided with Ningyu's palm. Blood God's palm! As the black-robed cultivator shouted, the 2 palms collided with a loud bang. When the 2 palms collided, there was no earth-shattering shock wave. Instead, everything returned to normal. Boom! The piece only lasted for about 10 seconds before it was broken by the massive shock wave generated from the palms of Ningyu and the black-robed cultivator, with Ningyu and the black-robed cultivator at the center. Sand and stones flew everywhere. Even the air hissed. I hate you. You're not a supreme state martial artist. You only have the aura of a supreme state on you. If I had not stupidly clashed with you and had dragged things out for a minute or two, the one to die would not have been me, but plop. When everything dissipated, the black-robed cultivator pointed at Ningyu and spoke in an extremely vexed tone. However, before he could finish his vexed words, his body fell backward with a plop, and he died on the spot. There are not so many ifs in this world. Ningyu slowly retracted his palm and said calmly, if there were ifs, you would definitely not have come to Danwu College. You would definitely not have teamed up with Chang Kuan. After saying this, Ningyu stood still on the spot, not moving. The reason why Ningyu did not move was not because he had expended a lot of energy, but because he was thinking of countermeasures. He was thinking of how to deceive Chang Kuan and the other two peak early-stage manifestation realm martial artists. From the looks of it, Chang Kuan and the other two martial artists did not know that Ningyu did not have the aura of a supreme state on him. They only thought that Ningyu had hidden his aura of a supreme state. Under this premise, they naturally did not dare to use force against Ningyu. I have to get rid of them today. They will always be a scourge if they are left alive. Ningyu's mind raced, trying to think of a perfect plan. Haha, Ningyu, it is better to make enemies than to resolve them. Today's matter ends here. Everyone, go back to your homes and find your mothers. Chang Kuan did not want to stay here for a moment longer after seeing the middle stage manifestation, realm, black-robed cultivator killed by Ningyu in one move. Chang Kuan's thoughts were very simple. He wanted to leave this place quickly. As long as there is life, there is hope. No. Chang Kuan wanted to leave, but the other two early-stage manifestation realm martial artists would not allow it. They were not scared out of their wits. They were still rational. After all, they were from the Blood God Palace and had come into contact with many supreme realm martial artists. From their point of view, if Ningyu could really exert the strength of a supreme realm martial artist, he would definitely not stop and would kill them all. Senior blood gods, what's wrong with that? Chang Kuan kept signaling the two early-stage manifestation realm martial artists with his eyes, indicating that they should focus on the big picture and not be impulsive. Senior blood god? Hearing Chang Kuan's words, Ningyu raised his eyebrows slightly and said, You are from the Blood God Palace. That's right, we are indeed from the Blood God Palace. One of the early-stage manifestation realm martial artists said coldly, The Blood God Palace has already taken control of the Lan Qing Kingdom. It won't be long before they control the Great Xia Kingdom. I don't care if you control the Great Xia Kingdom or not. I just want to ask one thing. Ningyu waved his hand and asked, What is the cultivation of your palace, Lord Now? Chapter 720. Sucking Dry. I know your palace master is at the Supreme Realm. I also know that he was at the peak of the Earth's Supreme Realm 20 years ago. You didn't care about the manifestation realm martial artist's threat. He continued, What I mean is, has your palace lord reached the Sky Supreme Realm? Who is your master? How do you know our palace master was at the peak of the Earth's Supreme Realm 20 years ago? The warrior at the peak of the early stage of the Fate Realm was shocked. My master has nothing to do with you, right? Ningyu shrugged and said, Actually, I want to say the same thing as you. Surrender, live, resist, die. As soon as the word die was said, Ningyu turned his wrist and a flying sword appeared in his hand. Buzz! The flying sword's entire body was red, and a terrifying aura emanated from it. Although this aura was not as strong as the previous one, it was not much weaker. Royal-level flying sword. Ningyu had just taken out the flying sword when the nearby Chang Kuan's pupils slightly constricted, and he shouted in a low voice, It's actually a monarch rank flying sword. How could you possibly have a monarch rank flying sword? Nothing is impossible. The corners of Ning Yu's mouth curled up, and he said indifferently, I'll repeat myself. Surrender, live, resist, die. Only a few seconds had passed since the warrior at the peak of the early stage of the Fate Realm from the Blood God Palace said this. But in this time, Ning Yu had rebounded the problem back to them. At this time, it was not Ning Yu who was troubled, but Chang Kuin and the others. Damn it! The two Fate Realm warriors from the Blood God Palace had mixed feelings, as if they had eaten sheep dung. They wanted to kill Ning Yu, but they were afraid of danger. If Ning Yu was only at the early stage of the Yinyang realm, they would not be afraid even if he had a royal-level flying sword. The most important thing was that Ning Yu had shown the aura of the Supreme Realm not long ago and killed the black-robed warrior. This was what they were most worried about. Chang Kuin, go test out Ning Yu's strength. Suddenly, a Creation Realm warrior from the Blood God Palace thought of a good idea. Since they were unwilling to make a move, why not let Chang Kuin test Ning Yu and see if Ning Yu had any real ability? Me? Senior Blood God, are you joking? I have just advanced to the manifestation stage, and my cultivation has yet to stabilize. How is it possible? Chang Kuin pointed at his nose and said, Cut the crap. Don't think that we don't know that you advanced to the early stage of the manifestation realm a month ago. The Fate Realm warrior from the Blood God Palace interrupted Chang Kuin and said coldly, You have two choices now. First, fight with Ning Yu. Second, die. Mother****, you will all die a horrible death. Chang Kuin's complexion was as ugly as a pig's liver. He was absolutely unwilling to fight with Ning Yu. However, he had no choice but to lower his head under the eaves. There was nothing he could do. Swoosh! Then, Chang Kuin moved and rushed towards Ning Yu in an instant. However, when Chang Kuin rushed towards Ning Yu, he secretly transmitted his voice to Ning Yu. Let's put on a show later. I will pretend to be defeated by you, but don't use your full strength. Even an ant wanted to live, let alone Chang Kuin. To be honest, Chang Kuin was a man with ideals and ambitions. Before his great ideals and revenge were realized, he naturally did not want to take this risk. As you wish. Ning Yu pondered for 0.01 seconds and finally agreed to Chang Kuin's request. It would be best if he could get rid of Chang Kuin without any bloodshed. Ning Yu, be careful. It might be a trap. The Red Devil was afraid that Ning Yu would be fooled and reminded him, Haha, I know what I'm doing. Ning Yu smiled slightly and immediately held the Red Devil sword in his hand and slashed out a sword wave in the air. Solitaire. It had been a long time since Ning Yu used the Supreme 9 Purity sword art. After executing Solitaire again, Ning Yu felt as though everything was still vivid in his mind. When Ning Hai imparted the Supreme 9 Purities sword art to him, he clearly said that as long as he could cultivate the 6th move to the extreme, he would know everything about his mother. In Ning Yu's opinion, he had already cultivated Solitaire to the extreme, but he still did not know anything about his mother. Over time, Ning Yu chose to give up on the Supreme 9 Purities sword art and decided to personally go to the Supreme 9 Purities temple to take a look. You really are an idiot. Seeing that Ning Yu had executed a sword wave that was not too powerful, Chang Kuin could not help but laugh sinisterly. I won't be stupid and not use my full strength. Mighty King Fist. In the next moment, Chang Kuin released all the essence chi in his sea of consciousness, wrapped it around his wrist, and blasted out a shocking fist light. Chi, chi, chi. A huge fist light separated from Chang Kuin's fist and rushed towards Ning Yu at an astonishing speed. In midair, the fist light and the sword wave collided. As expected, the sword wave was easily dispersed and disappeared between heaven and earth. As for Chang Kuin's fist light, it did not slow down and arrived at Ning Yu's side in an instant. Ha ha ha, Ning Yu, do you really think I'm that stupid not to use my full strength? Seeing that the fist light was about to hit Ning Yu's head, Chang Kuin laughed loudly. I knew you would use this move. Ning Yu's words resounded in this area. You knew. Even if you knew, what can you do to me? Chang Kuan laughed sinisterly. Now that you are so far away from me. Even if you want to kill me, there is no way. You are wrong about one thing. Suddenly, a faint voice came from behind Chang Kuan. Huh. Chang Kuan raised his brows and turned his head with a trace of doubt. Ning Yu. Who is that? When he saw the familiar figure behind him, Chang Kuan's mouth opened wide, a dumbfounded look on his face, because Ning Yu had already appeared behind him at some point. That was just an afterimage. Ning Yu waved the emperor rank flying sword in his hand and said with a sneer, If it weren't for your tricks, you would naturally discover that I tore the void. Unfortunately, you broke your promise first, so I can only send you to the Western Paradise. Ning Yu, you can't, Chang Kuan's cheeks were drained of blood, screaming hysterically. Ning Yu definitely would not give Chang Kuan a chance to live. He held the red demon's sword in his hand and stabbed out, right at Chang Kuan's heart. At this moment, Chang Kuan realized that Ning Yu was clearly pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger. After killing the black-robed martial artist, Ning Yu's strength had returned to normal. If not for him acting smart, the one who died now would not be him, but Ning Yu. Chang. The moment before his death, Chang Kuan turned his body slightly and looked at the crowd. However, he had just said the word Chang when he fell to the ground with a thud and died on the spot. Puff! Did Chang Kuan think that he would be safe after he died? The answer was obviously no. The Emperor rank red demon sword's devouring ability was extremely terrifying. Compared to it, the Dark Emperor was several grades inferior. In a short second, Chang Kuan, who originally still had some residual heat, was already sucked dry, leaving only a skeleton. Hiss! Chang Kuan's tragic state caused a huge uproar in the surroundings, especially the elders of Chang Kuan's faction. Everyone was in danger, their faces drained of blood. The situation was very clear. Ning Yu had already become the strongest person in this area. Chapter 7:21. Chang Wei, he's really a piece of trash. Seeing Chang Kuan's miserable state, the two Fate Realm warriors from Blood God Palace clenched their fists and their faces turned pale. At first, they asked Chang Kuan to test Ning Yu, but now they said Chang Kuan was a piece of trash. If Chang Kuan knew what the two Fate Realm martial artists from the Blood God Palace thought of him, he would probably wake up from his anger. So troublesome. I shouldn't have come to Danwu College. I should have gone to the Imperial Palace. After complaining, one of the Fate Realm warriors from Blood God Palace said in a low voice, Ling Han, what should we do now? Ling, who? You asked me what to do. How would I know? The Fate Realm warrior called Ling Han said coldly, Let's wait and see. As long as Ning Yu doesn't attack, we won't either. Aye, this is the only thing we can do. Ling, who softly sighed. Then he extended his senses and observed Ning Yu's every move. Two fools. They're buying time for me. Ling Hu and Ling Han didn't attack, which was what Ning Yu hoped for. Ning Yu knew that if Ling Hu and Ling Han attacked with all their strength, he would die. But after a while, the situation would completely change. As long as the silver winged dragon and the twin horns beast recovered to their peak, Ning Yu was confident that he could kill 3 Fate Realm warriors from Blood God Palace, let alone 2. The silver winged dragon and the twin horns beast at their peak should be able to fight against 1 early stage Fate Realm warrior each. Of course, the premise was that they had a lot of holy chi. Mu Feng and Ouyang Luan were early stage Fate Realm warriors, but they were seriously injured. Once they recovered to their peak, they naturally wouldn't be afraid of Ling, Hu, and the others. Shua. In that instant, the area seemed to have become somewhat strange. If Ning Yu and Ling, who didn't attack, the other elders of Danwu College definitely wouldn't dare to attack. Moreover, the elders of Danwu College did not even dare to breathe loudly. They were afraid that they would offend Ning Yu or the two martial artists from the Blood God Palace. Whether it was Ningyu or the warriors of the Blood God Palace, they were all terrifying existences in the eyes of the elders. At the very least, they didn't want to provoke him. Senior Silver-Winged Dragon, how long will it take for you and the twin-horned beast to recover to peak condition? Ningyu took a deep breath and said in a deep voice. In the end, as he was afraid that the Silver-Winged Dragon would not understand what he meant, Ningyu added, "What I mean is, how long do you need to recover to the point where you can kill a martial artist at the peak of the initial stage of the Blessed Realm?" What a joke! Even if we recover to our peak without the support of the formation, it will be difficult to kill a martial artist at the peak of the early stage of the Fate Realm, the Silver-Winged Dragon replied. Ningyu, don't put too much hope on us. The reason why we could kill Bai Wu and Bai Guang was because of the formation in the cave. The twin-horned beast knew his own strength, so he did not exaggerate and said honestly, "There is no formation now, and the two martial artists from the Blood God Palace in front of us are full of vitality. They are even one step away from the middle stage of the Blessed Realm. Holy Qi. I can provide you with a large amount of Holy Qi." Ningyu knew what the twin-horned beast and the Silver-Winged Dragon meant. He was straightforward and said, "There is only one condition. You have to try your best to hold off a martial artist from the Blood God Palace." Deal. The Silver-Winged Dragon was delighted and said, "Give us 10 bottles of Holy Qi and we have an hour." As soon as he finished speaking, the Silver-Winged Dragon stared at Ningyu. His meaning was self-evident. Swoosh! Swoosh! Ningyu had indeed saved a lot of Holy Qi during this time, but it was far from 10 bottles. Since Mu Feng and Ouyang were still there, Ningyu only gave the Silver-Winged Dragon and the twin-horned dragon 2 bottles of Holy Qi and then ignored them. Ningyu knew that the Silver-Winged Dragon and the twin-horned dragon must have some Holy Qi left, but they did not want to take it out. How stingy! Although the Silver-Winged Dragon wanted more Holy Qi, he understood that now was not the time to bargain with Ningyu. He had to recover quickly. Otherwise, if the idiots from the Blood God Palace reacted, the consequences would be disastrous. In fact, Ningyu did not need to worry about Mu Feng at all. This was Danwu College, his base camp. In addition, he had been trying his best to recover. By now, he had recovered about 50% of his strength. As for Ouyang, he was in a much more dangerous situation. At this moment, Ouyang was staring at Ningyu with the word Holy Qi written on his face. Whoosh! 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 Ningyu had never been stingy with his people. Ningyu waved his sleeves, and 3 jade bottles flew toward Ouyang. Ouyang injuries were more serious, and there would be a big battle later. Therefore, Ningyu gave the remaining 3 bottles of Holy Qi to Ouyang. Pa! Ouyang took the jade bottle and carefully put it away. He did not swallow it immediately. After all, there were 3 bottles of Holy Qi. Ouyang wanted to save some for when he reached the middle stage of the Fate Realm. It would be a waste to use them to recover now. However, what Ningyu said next made Ouyang feel like he had been F***ed. Cough! Ningyu coughed twice and said in a deep voice with a serious face, Ouyang, you only have 1 hour to recover. After 1 hour, a big battle is inevitable. The joy in Ouyang heart was instantly washed away by Ningyu's words. Without saying anything, he directly threw a jade bottle into his mouth. Time was ticking away. At first, the elders and mentors of Danwu College did not dare to speak, for fear of angering Ningyu or the experts from the Blood God Palace. However, as time passed, there were finally some voices in the crowd. At first, the voices were very low, and no one dared to talk loudly. However, after half an hour, the voices gradually became louder. Why do you think Ningyu did not kill the warriors from the Blood God Palace? Why? In my opinion, he did not have the confidence. Did not have the confidence? After all, Ningyu easily killed the martial artist in the middle stage of the Fate Realm in a black robe and Changkuin in the early stage of the Fate Realm. Humph! It would be best if the warriors from the Blood God Palace killed Ningyu and Mu Feng. In this way, I can replace them and become the master of Danwu College. In the crowd, a martial artist who was half a step to the Fate Realm snorted with a vicious face. This martial artist was called Chong Wei, and he was Chong Kuen's younger twin brother. Chong Wei's identity was known by the elders and mentors of Chong Kuen's faction. This was also the reason why the elders and mentors did not immediately seek refuge with Ningyu. These elders and mentors were not fools. Although Chong Kuen was dead, there was still Chong Wei. The relationship between Chong Wei and the Fate Realm warriors from the Blood God Palace was also unusual. Ling Han, I think we can't wait any longer. Ling, who did not know what Chong Wei was thinking. After half an hour of contemplation, he first raised an objection that they should take the initiative to attack. It's not impossible to take the initiative to attack, but we must think of a foolproof plan. Chapter 7:22. To sound out no, I can't take the risk. Ling, who thought about it and still felt that he couldn't take such a big risk. Testing Ningyu was not a joke. If he failed, he would be consigned to eternal damnation. After all, Chong Kuen's miserable state was still fresh in their minds. F***CK, you're the one who said we can't sit still and wait for death. You're the one who said we can't take risks. What the F***CK are you trying to do? Ling Han was furious. Originally, he had planned to personally test Ningyu, but after Ling Hu's actions, he decided to wait and see. Who cared what the F***CK Ling Hu would do? In any case, he would not make a move again. Perhaps he had sensed Ling Han's anger, so Ling Hu hurriedly said, "What I mean is, there is no need for us to take the risk. Even if we do need to take the risk, we should let the martial artists of Danwu College take our place." Ling Han raised an eyebrow and said coldly, "Martial artists from Danwu College are substituting? Look at how scared these people are. You want them to test Ningyu? Are you playing with snakes?" "Hee, you don't have to worry about that. Naturally, there will be people willing to do it." Ling Hu smiled as if he had everything planned out. In the next moment, Ling Hu moved his feet and walked straight into the crowd. Ling Hu's speed was not slow, and he soon appeared in front of a martial artist who was half a step into the manifestation realm. Ling Hu did not beat around the bush and went straight to the point. "Chong Wei, do you want to control Danwu College? Do you want to avenge your brother?" "Of course, I want to avenge my big brother." In fact, when Tsun Takashi saw Ling Hu walking towards him, he already felt that something was amiss. However, he had no other choice now. He could only bite the bullet and say, "Senior Blood God, Ningyu must be pretending to be weak. In my opinion, the two of you should attack as soon as possible and kill Ningyu. Hee, our Blood God Palace has a merciful heart. How about this? I'll leave the task of killing Ningyu to you." Ling Hu smiled faintly. "I promise you, as long as you get rid of Ningyu, from today onwards, not only will Danwu College have the surname Chong, even the entire Dixia Kingdom will have the surname Chong. The old fox wants to kill me with a borrowed knife." Tsun Takashi cursed in his heart, but he did not show it on his face. Instead, he said hesitantly, "Senior Blood God, I'm only half a step into the manifestation state. Even if I want to kill Ningyu, I don't have the strength to do so. You don't have to worry about that. As long as you show signs of weakness, we will help you immediately." Ling Hu waved his hand and said, "In any case, we will be your strongest shield." "Let me try." Tsun Takei took a deep breath and decided to give it a try. However, Tsun Takashi was not that stupid. He did not attack alone. Instead, he said in a clear voice, "Chong Kuen was mercilessly killed by Ningyu. We cannot do nothing. We have to do something to comfort Chong Kuen's soul in heaven. Mother ****. As soon as Chong Kuen said that a middle-stage Yin-Yang realm elder berated, "The current situation is confusing. From the looks of it, Ningyu and the senior from the Blood God Palace are evenly matched, and neither of them can do anything to the other. You want us to attack Ningyu? Have you lost your mind? Swoosh! The middle stage Yin-Yang realm elders' undisguised words made Tsun Takei's face extremely gloomy. He was on the verge of exploding in anger. Someone actually called him a retard. An aunt could tolerate it, but an uncle could not. What if he could not tolerate it? With Tsun Takei's personality, of course, he would fight back. Tsun Takei did the same. He dashed out and instantly appeared next to the middle stage Yin-Yang realm elder. Slap, 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 slap. His hands moved back and forth, and every slap that landed on the middle stage Yin-Yang realm elder's face made a crisp sound. Don't say that I didn't remind you. Since you chose Chongquan and me, you should be prepared. Tsun Takei's tone was cold as he looked around and said coldly, "Listen to my orders. Everyone, do your best to kill Ningyu." Hold on. Tsun Takei was furious. It seemed like there was always someone who opposed him. As soon as he gave the order, someone behind him said, "Hold on." Tsun Takei was furious. He wanted to see who was brave enough to stop him in front of so many people. Ningyu? Tsun Takei was dumbfounded when he saw who it was, and his arrogance was instantly extinguished. The person who stopped him was none other than Ningyu. At this moment, Ningyu held the blood-red flying sword in his hand and said lightly, "We are all from Danwu College and work for Danwu College. My idea is very simple. No matter what you have done in the past to harm Danwu College, as long as you repent now and choose to work together against the outsiders, I can let bygones be bygones. This, in my opinion, we should stand with Ningyu. That's right. Ningyu has the dean, the patriarch of the imperial family, and 2 half-step manifestation demon beasts. That's right. We should stand with Ningyu." Swoosh! Ningyu's words turned the situation around. In an instant, the number of elders behind Tsun Takei was reduced by more than half, leaving only a few who stood firm. Good, very good. Ningyu, I admire you. Tsun Takei's gaze was cold as he smirked sinisterly. Didn't you notice that those are all Yin-Yang elders? All the elders who are half a step into the manifestation realm are with me. Of course, I know that you have 3 half-step manifestation martial artists on your side. Ningyu was unconcerned and said indifferently, "With a royal grade flying sword in hand, half-step manifestation martial artists are nothing to me." Arrogant. Attack! Tsun Takei's gaze turned cold as he berated. Swoosh! 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 As Tsun Takei's berating voice rang out, the 3 half-step manifestation martial artists behind him rose from the ground and charged at Ningyu at an astonishing speed. Ha ha ha! 3 half-step manifestation martial artists. Ningyu, 1 for each of us. Suddenly, a loud laugh rang out in the area. Then, the space beside Ningyu surged, and 2 Yin-Yang intermediate stage martial artists appeared. No, it should be 2 Yin-Yang intermediate stage dogs. Dark Emperor, have you recovered to your peak state? Ningyu asked in confusion when he saw the Dark Emperor appear. Let's not talk about that for now. Let's deal with these half-step manifestation martial artists first. The Dark Emperor hemmed and hawed as he pushed Ningyu away. Then he took the lead and charged towards the nearest half-step manifestation realm martial artist. What's going on? What the F asterisk CK? The Dark Emperor's actions puzzled Ningyu. He probed his spatial ring with his senses. It would have been fine if he did not look, but the moment he did, he was so furious that his lungs were about to explode. Within half an hour, the Dark Emperor had completely devoured all the sacred chi that the flower bud had devoured. No wonder the Dark Emperor had recovered to his peak state so quickly. Woof woof! Just as Ningyu was fuming, Furball barked at him and dashed out. Solitaire. Chapter 7:23. Chapter 7:23. A conspiracy rumble. The moment Ningyu shouted in a low voice, a shocking sword wave separated from the Red Devil's body, and headed straight for an elder who was half a step into the manifestation realm. Although the solitaire could not pose a threat to a manifestation realm martial artist, it was still very powerful against a half-step manifestation realm martial artist. Tsun Takeshi, what are you standing there for? Do you think those 3 muggles can kill Ningyu? In the distance, Ling, who saw that Tsun Takeshi had no intention of attacking, he shouted angrily, "Hurry up and attack. Otherwise, everything I've said before will be for naught. You keep asking me to attack. Why aren't you guys attacking?" Tsun Takeshi was also afraid of death. Without absolute confidence, he did not want to fight Ningyu head-on. Moreover, even though his strength was slightly stronger than the 3 elders, it wasn't by much. This time, Tsun Takeshi decided to be stubborn and pretend that he did not hear Ling Hu. Damn it! Tsun Takeshi's reaction made Ling Hu very angry. Although he was angry, Ling Hu had no choice but to wait. Boom! In the air, Ningyu and the rest were already fighting with the 3 half-step manifestation realm elders. How is that white dog so powerful? It has been suppressing Elder Li the entire time. The black dog is not weak either. It is almost on par with Elder Zhang. Are we not even comparable to a dog? You don't say. We really are not even comparable to a dog. Quick, look at Ningyu. Originally, many of the elders were comparing themselves to a dog. However, the last elder's words attracted their attention to Ningyu. In the air, Ningyu held a blood-red flying sword in his hand and was locked in battle with the half-step manifestation realm elders. What's going on? Although Elder, who is only 1 step away from advancing to the early stage manifestation realm, Ningyu has killed a middle stage manifestation realm black-robed martial artist before. Why can't he kill Elder Hu now? Ningyu is playing with fire. Playing with fire is impossible. According to my guess, Ningyu doesn't want to kill Elder Hu. He wants to give Elder Hu a chance to turn over a new leaf, explained an elder at the peak of Enyang realm. Pucci! Suddenly, the elder's eyes widened as he stood rooted to the ground, because he saw that in midair, Ningyu stabbed out with his sword. Without any deviation, it pierced right into Elder Hu's heart. Thump! With his heart pierced, Elder Hu couldn't even hold on for a second before he fell to the ground, dead on the spot. Hua! Elder Hu's tragic death caused a huge uproar in the surroundings, and everyone was talking about it. Puff! Puff! However, before Elder Hu's tragic death could cause too much of a reaction, 2 more voices rang out in the area. This time, all the elders were dumbfounded. In just a few minutes, the 3 elders who were half a step into the manifestation realm were all killed. None of them were spared. If Ningyu's domineering killing of the Blood God Palace's middle-stage manifestation realm martial artist, as well as Chong Kuen's killing, caused many of the Danwu Academy's elders to exclaim in surprise, then the Dark Emperor and Furball, these 2 dogs, displayed such powerful strength, caused many of the elders to exclaim in admiration. After killing Elder Hu, Ningyu casually threw the red demon sword into his storage ring and said calmly, "Tsun Takeshi, I gave you a chance, but you didn't know how to cherish it. Don't blame me then." Humph. Do you think you can compete with me after killing 3 pieces of trash? You're too naive. Tsun Takeshi snorted coldly. Ningyu, leave this old man to me and Furball. Before Ningyu could speak, the Dark Emperor stood on its hind legs and put its front paws behind its back, looking like an old man. In the future, you don't need to deal with these cats and dogs. Furball and I can deal with them for you. Woof woof. Furball barked twice to show its agreement with the Dark Emperor. F*CK, 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 F*CK. You're already with the Dark Emperor. As expected, people who aren't from the same family are from the same family. Ningyu was a little speechless. Furball, a pure puppy, was actually led astray by the Dark Emperor. How hateful! Dark Emperor, why the F*CK are you still standing there for? Didn't you say you would kill Tsun Takashi for me? Ning, you kicked the Dark Emperor's butt and said angrily, Haha, I did say that I would help you kill Tsun Take. However, you should at least show me some goodwill. You have to give me some benefits, right? The Dark Sovereign did not get angry after Ning, you kicked him in the butt. Instead, he chuckled. One Xingyang pill. Ning Yu stuck out a finger and said, Don't bargain with me or I will kill Tsun Takashi myself. The reason why Ning Yu did not kill Tsun Takashi himself was because he did not want to expose himself. After all, Ling Hu and Ling Han were martial artists at the peak of the early stage of the manifestation realm. Their senses were very strong. As long as Ning Yu showed an opening, Ling Hu and Ling Han would definitely attack without hesitation. Ning Yu turned to look at the silver winged dragon and the others and murmured, 15 more minutes. As long as we hold on for 15 more minutes, the silver winged dragon and the others will completely recover to their peak condition. Deal. The Dark Emperor knew Ning Yu's temper and knew that Ning Yu would not relent no matter how much he tried. Instead of wasting time here, it was better to kill Tsun Takashi first to prevent any unforeseen circumstances. Furball, it's time to show your real skills. The Dark Emperor smiled at Furball and then charged at Tsun Takashi first. Damn it. Tsun Takashi cursed in his mind as he looked at the black and white dogs that were closing in on him. He then dashed forward. Shwa. However, Tsun Takashi had only advanced a meter when he suddenly turned around and flew towards Ling Hu and Ling Han. Senior Blood God, please help me get rid of these 2 damn dogs. Tsun Takashi shouted as he ran. Get rid of my A*S. Think of a way yourself. Ling, who did not care about Tsun Takashi's life or death, he scolded. If you dare to come any closer, don't blame me for being rude. F***CK. Even if you want me to die, I won't let you have it easy. Ling, whose inhumanity caused Tsun Takashi to be extremely furious. Shio! In the next instant, Tsun Takashi's hands tore through the void and directly entered. Soon, Tsun Takashi appeared in front of Ling Hu. Seeing Tsun Takashi run to Ling Hu's side, Ning Yu still felt that something was wrong and hurriedly shouted, Dark Emperor Furball, hurry up and come back. Let them fight each other. Ning Yu's warning was obviously a beat too late. Tsun Takashi's lips curled up, revealing a sinister smile. 2 stupid dogs, as expected, terrifyingly stupid. Just as Tsun Takashi finished speaking, 2 figures dashed past him. Pung! Pung! These 2 figures were extremely fast, and in the blink of an eye, they had arrived beside the Dark Emperor and Furball. Then, 2 fists that were imbued with violent origin energy slammed into the Dark Emperor and Furball's chests. The massive force from their chests caused the Dark Emperor and Furball's bodies to plummet backward like kites with their strings cut. Poo-pew! The Dark Emperor spat out 2 mouthfuls of blood in succession. His aura was extremely weak, and he felt as if he was about to die. Although Furball was slightly better off than the Dark Emperor, who was also severely wounded, and his aura had dropped to freezing point. Ning Yu, these 2 dogs that you've raised are indeed stupid. Ling, who stood in midair with his hands clasped behind his back, and calmly said. Chapter 724. Powerful Techniques. 2 Dead Dogs. Looks like I'll be able to have a feast of dog meat tonight. When Ling Hu said this, Ning Yu's expression darkened. From a certain perspective, the Dark Emperor and Furball could no longer be considered dogs. They were Ning Yu's brothers. Now that Ling Hu wanted to eat Ning Yu's brothers, Ning Yu would naturally not agree. Senior Silver Winged Dragon, it's time to act. Although less than an hour had passed, Ning Yu could not allow the Dark Emperor and the others to be in danger. Even if the Silver Winged Dragon and the others had not recovered to their peak, they had to act now. Fight! The Silver Winged Dragon and the Twin Horns beast knew Ning Yu's temper. Moreover, they had recovered about 80% of their strength, so it was not a bad idea to act now. Shwa! Shwa! With a low shout, the silver-winged dragon and the twin horns beast charged out. Ha ha ha, good timing. Facing the two demonic beasts that were half a step into manifestation realm, Ling Hu and Ling Han exchanged a look, then faced the silver-winged dragon and the twin horns beast, one on the left and one on the right. Boom! For elites, two battlefields. A great battle broke out instantly. Although Ling, whose cultivation was higher than the silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast, the silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast were not pushovers. Although they were at a disadvantage, the silver-winged dragon and the twin horns beast held on. At least, they would not lose in a short period of time. Ouyang Luan killed Tsun Takeshi. Ning Yu was glad that the silver-winged dragon and the twin horns beast could hold on. Ning Yu did not expect the silver-winged dragon and the twin horns beast to kill Ling Hu and Ling Han. As long as they could hold on for a few minutes, it would be enough. Don't worry, leave Tsun Takeshi to me. Ouyang Luan heard Ning Yu's order and dashed out, appearing in front of Tsun Takeshi in an instant. Ouyang Luan, you can't kill me. Do you want to provoke a war between the imperial family and Damu College? When Tsun Takeshi saw Ouyang Luan appear in front of him in the blink of an eye, his pupils weakened and even his voice trembled. Reincarnate into a good body in your next life. You can only blame yourself for offending someone you shouldn't have. Ouyang Luan would certainly not dare to disobey Ningyu. Furthermore, it wouldn't be difficult for him to kill Tsun Takeshi with his strength. Whoosh! While Ouyang Luan was killing Tsun Takeshi with all his might, Ningyu tore through the void and arrived beside the Dark Sovereign and Furball. Seeing that the Dark Emperor and the others were about to speak, Ningyu stopped them and said in a solemn voice, "Don't speak. Go into the storage ring to recuperate first. I'll leave all of the holy chi that the flower bud has devoured until you've recovered to your peak state." Ningyu is never stingy when dealing with his own people. Putting aside the holy chi produced by the flower bud, even if he had to abandon the flower bud to cure the Dark Emperor and Furball, Ningyu would not even bat an eyelid. Shio! The Dark Emperor knew Ningyu's character, so he did not stand on ceremony with Ningyu. He grabbed Furball, turned into a shadow, and entered the storage ring. After making arrangements for the Dark Emperor and Furball, Ningyu gripped the red demon's sword tightly with both hands. He first looked at Ouyang Luan's battlefield, then stomped on the ground and flew toward the other side of the battlefield. It was only a matter of time before Ouyang Luan killed Tsun Takeshi. You definitely did not want to waste time with him. The silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast were much more dangerous. In just a few minutes, the silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast had already shown signs of weakness. If there were no more forces to join the battle, the silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast would be defeated sooner or later. Ningyu, let me. The reason why Mu Feng did not make a move earlier was because he was preparing his ultimate move. When Ningyu made his move, he had just finished preparing his ultimate move. You go help the twin-horned beast. I'll help the silver-winged dragon. Ningyu did not know that Mu Feng was preparing his ultimate move. After he said this, he immediately joined the silver-winged dragon's battlefield. The martial artist fighting the silver-winged dragon was Ling Hu. At this time, Ling Hu was suppressing the silver-winged dragon in all aspects, suppressing it until it could not breathe. Whoosh! Just as the silver-winged dragon was about to collapse, Ningyu suddenly joined the battle. Ningyu, this old dog, is stronger, already infinitely close to the middle stage of the manifestation realm. Be careful. Ningyu's participation in the battle allowed the silver-winged dragon to breathe a sigh of relief. However, the silver-winged dragon did not dare to be careless. After all, Ling Hu's cultivation was at the peak of the early stage of the manifestation realm, only a step away from the middle stage of the manifestation realm. In this state, Ling, who could even fight a middle-stage martial artist for hundreds of rounds without being defeated. Silver Winged Dragon, let me sit on your back. Ning Yu's words were simple and clear, without the slightest hesitation. Come up. Although the Silver Winged Dragon did not know what Ning Yu was planning, it knew that Ning Yu must have his reasons for doing this. Moreover, Ning Yu was holding a royal grade flying sword in his hand, and this royal grade flying sword would be the key to killing Ling Hu. Ning Yu did not hesitate. Both feet stepped on the ground, and in an instant swept onto the back of the Silver Winged Dragon. Buzz, buzz! Then the Silver Winged Dragon tore through the void, directly disappearing. Hee, competing with me in the art of space? You're still too inexperienced. The disappearance of Ning Yu and the Silver Winged Dragon did not make Ling Hu too worried. Ling Hu's hands reached deep into his clothes and took out a jade bottle with green liquid. Crack! The jade bottle shattered, and Ling Hu smeared the liquid in the bottle on his eyelids. Blood God's palm! The first thing Ling Hu did when he opened his eyes was to form a seal with both hands and sent out a shocking palm print. Poochie! The palm print had only traveled 3 meters when it seemed to have collided with something, and dark red blood splattered in midair. Under the vision of the spiritual liquid, you have nowhere to hide. Ling, who let out a sinister laugh as he sent out another palm strike. Pft, pft, pft. Every time Ling Hu sent out a palm, there would be a spurt of dark red blood spurting out from the void. After a few palm strikes, the void in the area was almost dyed red with blood. Ha ha ha. Ling, who was very satisfied with his palm print, he threw his head back and laughed. Ning Yu, I thought you were powerful. Who would have thought that you're just a wax figure with a silver spear? Nice to look at, but useless. Is that so? However, just as Ling Hu's laughter faded, his pupils constricted, and he quickly turned his head around. Buzz, buzz! Behind Ling Hu, a figure slowly appeared. This figure was slightly thin, and in his hand was a blood-red flying sword. On the body of the sword, there was a violent fluctuation of yuan qi. Impossible! How could you hide from my spiritual liquid? Looking at the familiar figure in front of him, Ling Hu's mouth was slightly open, and his face was full of confusion. In his eyes, which were smeared with the spiritual liquid, he did not see Ning Yu appear behind him. In other words, Ning Yu had hidden from the detection of the spiritual liquid. I forgot to tell you that my attainments in aura concealment are much greater than my attainments in spatial techniques, said Ning Yu indifferently. Wait, why are there no injuries on your body, then? Ling, who still could not believe his eyes, and he pointed at the blood mist in the void and shouted. Chapter 725. The same way vroom. In midair, a large creature broke through the blood mist and gradually emerged. This large creature was covered in blood. Even its fur was dyed red. Silver Winged Dragon. Ling, who knew the true identity of this large creature. It was the Silver Winged Dragon that he was battling. The Silver Winged Dragon's pitiful state indicated that all his attacks had landed on the Silver Winged Dragon and not on Ning Yu. Ling Hu, in order to fool you, the Silver Winged Dragon risked being killed by you to buy time for me. Your death is not in vain. Ning Yu held the red magic sword in his hand and dashed out. No, Ning Yu, you cannot kill me. Ah! Looking at the approaching Ning Yu and the blood-red flying sword in Ning Yu's hand, Ling Hu's pupils constricted as he screamed. Poochie! However, the moment Ling Hu shouted, he let out a hysterical scream. Ning Yu held the red magic sword in his hand and pierced Ling Hu's heart. With his heart pierced, Ling Hu only struggled for a moment before he stopped breathing. Red magic, you know what to do. To prevent any unforeseen circumstances, Ning Yu looked at the red magic sword in his hand and tossed it away. Swoosh! The red magic sword seemed to understand Ning Yu's words. It first nodded at Ningyu, like a human before it flashed and pierced Ling, whose heart again. This time, the red magic sword demonstrated its powerful devouring ability. In the blink of an eye, Ling, who was reduced to a skeleton, like Chong Kuin not long ago. Hiss! Seeing Ling, whose pitiful state, the surrounding elders gasped and started discussing. Even Ling, who from the blood god temple, was sucked dry. Chong Kuin's death was not unjust. Chong Kuin asked for it. Luckily, we relied on Ningyu long ago. Otherwise, we would have ended up like Chong Kuin and Ling Hu. That's right. This might be the best decision we've made recently. The crowd's discussion did not cause Ningyu to stop for even a second. Ningyu turned his head to look at Ouyang Luan's battlefield, and he couldn't help but frown. Logically speaking, if Ouyang Luan wanted to kill Tsun Takashi, it would not be difficult at all. But after so long, Ouyang Luan still had not taken down Tsun Takashi. Humph. Ning, you coldly snorted and sent a soul message to Ouyang Luan. I'll give you 3 more minutes. If you can't kill Tsun Takashi in 3 minutes, the consequences will be the same as Ling Hu. After saying this, Ningyu ignored Ouyang Luan and joined the battle on Mufang's side. Damn it! Ouyang Luan's complexion turned ugly when he heard Ning use cold words. The reason why he did not use his full strength to kill Tsun Takashi was because he wanted to preserve some holy chi. But now Ningyu had seen through it. Ouyang Luan had no choice but to swallow the only jade bottle he had left. Voila! As soon as the jade bottle entered his stomach, Ouyang Luan's body exuded a powerful energy wave. What a waste of resources, forcing me to kill Tsun Takashi in 3 minutes. Ouyang Luan did not dare to show his displeasure to Ningyu, so he could only vent his anger on Tsun Takashi. This time, Tsun Takashi was doomed. He had been suppressed by Ouyang Luan in the first place, and now that Ouyang Luan's strength had increased, it was already certain that he would be killed. Hung Long. Ling Han's strength was slightly stronger than Ling Hu's. If there was a thin layer of paper between Ling Hu and the middle stage of the creation tier, then the gap between Ling Han and the middle stage of the creation tier was only a thin membrane. In other words, if Ling Han wanted to, he could even break through to the middle stage of the creation tier on the spot. Ha ha ha! You 2 pieces of trash want to kill me? I have to say, you 2 are thinking too much. Ling Han threw out a punch and laughed madly. Ling Han, it's not that we're thinking too much, but you're thinking too much. Just as Ling Han was about to say something, Ningyu sped over from afar and said, If you continue to be stubborn, you'll end up like Ling Hu. Ling Hu? Hearing this, Ling Han raised an eyebrow and hurriedly shifted his gaze to the other side. Seeing that Ling Hu was only left with a skeleton, Ling Han's expression instantly darkened and all color drained from his face. If the 2 horned beasts and Headmaster Mu are no match for you, and with me on your side, what do you think your chances of winning are? Ningyu continued, If you know what's good for you, surrender as soon as possible. That way, you'll still have a chance of survival. Otherwise, I'll let you know what cruelty is. Very well. At this moment, Ling Han suddenly calmed down, so calm that it was a little scary. There was no joy or sorrow on his face, as if Ling Hu's death had nothing to do with him. He said calmly, I originally didn't want to be so cruel, but since you 2 insist on forcing me, it looks like I have no other choice. Shwa. As the last word fell, Ling Han flicked his sleeve, and a white alchemical pill instantly appeared in his hand. Ling Han did not hesitate, and directly put the alchemical pill into his mouth and chewed. Pung! 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 As the alchemical pill entered his stomach, Ling Han felt as if he had been struck by something, and several muffled sounds came from his body. Not good. Quickly stop him. Ling Han's condition caused Ningyu's expression to change greatly, and he hurriedly said, Ling Han wants to advance to the middle stage of creation tier. No matter what, we can't let him succeed. Otherwise, the consequences will be unthinkable. Pill Spirit Palm. Mu Feng's eyes shone brightly, and he gathered his spiritual power and origin chi on his wrist and shot out a palm strike. Roar! The two horned beasts did not just sit and wait for death. He raised his head and roared, and instantly an earth-shattering sound rang out, its penetrating power extremely loud. Palm of life and death. As for Ningyu, he did not remain idle either. His wrist quickly formed a seal, and a blood-red palm print appeared. On the other side, old ancestor Jiuemo saw Ling Han's actions and shouted loudly, "Go, we must stop Ling Han!" The numerous elders of Danwu College saw old ancestor Jiuemo make a move, and could only follow closely behind, joining the battle. With the addition of so many people, Ling Han was completely suppressed. Pooh! In fact, Ling Han could not withstand the pressure of the numerous techniques and auras, and spat out a large mouthful of blood. Blood sacrifice technique. Ling Han naturally would not foolishly wait for death. He forcibly forced out a few drops of blood essence, and his hands grabbed at the air, and in the blink of an eye shot out a palm print. Scattering wave palm. Voila! As Ling Han shouted, the first palm print covered the blood essence that he had forced out and attacked the others. However, after this palm print absorbed the blood essence, it split into two into four, into five in a short few seconds. The first palm print had become a total of several dozen. The target of each palm print was very clear, and they were all aimed at an elder of Danwu College. Pooh! Piu! Piu! Even though the palm print had split into several dozen, its might could not be underestimated. None of the elders of Danwu College, including old ancestor Jiuemo, could dodge the palm print, and all of them were struck in the chest. Chapter 7:26. Strive to be a deserter rumble. Ling Han had just left when the void he was in was bombarded by the techniques of Ningyu and the others, and a series of explosions erupted. Kacha! At the same time, the void on the other side suddenly split open and a figure walked out. The figure seemed slow, but in an instant it arrived in front of Ningyu. Sensing the powerful aura emanating from Ling Han, Ningyu's heart sank to the bottom. Middle stage of the blessed realm. Indeed, just as Ling Han had said, he had advanced to the middle stage of the creation tier. There was a huge difference between the middle stage of the creation realm and the early stage of the creation realm. It could be said that after advancing to the middle stage of the creation tier, Ling Han's battle prowess had at least doubled, or even more. The last time Ningyu had killed the black-robed cultivator in the middle stage of Fate tier, he had relied on the Emperor tier aura that had erupted from the red demon sword when it had advanced to Emperor tier. This time, if he wanted to kill Ling Han in the middle stage of Fate tier, it would be even more difficult than ascending to the heavens. Say something, aren't you arrogant? Why aren't you talking? Ling Han touched his forehead and made a pose that he thought was very handsome. He said, "I've said before that the Blood God Palace won't kill innocent people. How about this? I'll give you a chance to live." At this point, Ling Han's eyes turned, as if he was thinking about what kind of opportunity he should give Ningyu. Suddenly, the corners of Ling Han's lips curled up into a sinister smile, and he said, "Kneel down, kowtow a few times, then lie down like a dog and walk one round around Danwu College. If you do that, I can consider sparing your dog life." Pa! Ling Han's mocking words were like a slap to his face, causing him to be on the verge of exploding with rage. He was already so arrogant after advancing to the middle stage of the creation realm. What would happen if he advanced to the late stage of the creation realm and advanced to the supremacy realm? Seeing that Ningyu didn't answer him, Ling Han immediately rose from the ground and charged straight at Ningyu. "Yo, you're not willing, right?" Whoosh! However, just as Ling Han was about to reach Ningyu's side, he suddenly changed his direction and charged towards the twin-horned beast. Seeing Ling Han charge towards it, the twin-horned beast's expression changed drastically, and it hurriedly retreated. However, Ling Han, who had advanced to the middle stage of the creation tier, was clearly much faster than before. The twin-horned beast was only a demonic beast half a step into the manifestation state. Naturally, it would not be able to escape his claws. Crack! In the next instant, a clear voice rang out in the area. Ah! Immediately after, the twin-horned beast let out a hysterical scream. The two horns, which had already been injured in the first place, were struck by Ling Han again, and directly broke into two halves. Damn it! Ning Yu clenched his fists tightly when he saw the miserable state of the twin-horned beast, trying to think of a countermeasure. However, just as Ning Yu was thinking of countermeasures, Ling Han attacked again. This time, Ling Han's target was not the two-horned beasts, but Mu Feng. Ling Han also knew that Ning Yu was the most difficult to deal with, so he decided to deal with the twin-horned beast and Mu Feng first. Finally, he would compete with Ning Yu. Ling Han's idea gave Ning Yu plenty of time to think. If Ling Han killed Ning Yu right from the start, then Ning Yu would definitely not be able to hold on for long. His ending would definitely be even more miserable than the twin-horned beasts. Crack! At first, Mu Feng still wanted to block, but Ling Han did not give him the chance. Mu Feng did not even see how Ling Han had attacked. His knees were kicked, and he knelt on the ground. Ning Yu, how was it? Was it very exciting? Ling Han asked sinisterly after heavily injuring the twin-horned beast and Mu Feng. Very exciting, indeed, very exciting. Ning Yu took a deep breath and said calmly, "If you think you can kill me like this, I can tell you that you are too naive." Ha ha ha. Ling Han looked as if he had heard the funniest joke in the world. He threw his head back and laughed loudly. Then his tone changed and he said coldly, "Just because of what you said, I will kill you and then cut off the flesh on your body piece by piece. I will let you have a good time. If you want to kill Ning Yu, you must first pass through me." At this moment, a figure approached from afar, and in the blink of an eye, arrived beside Ning Yu. I was wondering who it was. So it is the ancestor of the imperial family Oyanglin. Looking at the figure that suddenly appeared, Ling Han smiled calmly and said, "Don't worry, I will satisfy your request." As the word request fell, Ling Han's body gradually disappeared, merging into the void. After 1 second, Ling Han appeared on Ouyang Luan's left. Pung! Ling Han's attack was extremely fast. Ouyang Luan did not even have time to react before he was hit in the shoulder, and his body fell straight back. At first, Ouyang Luan's domineering appearance gave the elders of Danwu College a misconception. After all, Mu Feng and the two horned beasts had been defeated, and Ouyang Luan dared to challenge Ling Han, so he most likely had some ability. Who would have thought that Ouyang Luan would be defeated in one move and completely defeated? An embroidered pillow that looks good but is useless. Ling Han curled his lips, turned around to look at Ning Yu, and said, "There is a path to heaven, but you refuse to take it, and there is no door to hell. Yet you insist on barging in. Looks like I have to make you pay the price." "Kneel down like a dog. Wait, don't pretend. Actually, I'm not afraid of you." Ning Yu waved his hand, interrupting Ling Han's words, and said calmly, "Your cultivation level is only slightly higher than mine. In other aspects, there is no difference between us." "Oh, no difference?" Ling Han did not get angry, and instead smiled evilly and said, "You are indeed very arrogant. It's not that I'm arrogant, but you really don't have the ability." Ning Yu curled his lips and said, "Do you dare to exchange a palm strike with me?" "Are you sure you want to exchange a palm strike with me?" Ling Han did not know what he was captivated by. He pondered for a moment, and then agreed to Ning Yu's strange request. Life and death palm. Ling Han had just agreed to Ning Yu's request when Ning Yu flipped his wrist, and a violent fluctuation of origin chi was instantly pushed out. F***CK. As expected, you have some skill, No wonder you want to exchange a palm strike with me. Feeling the origin qi contained in Ningyu's palm, Ling Han's heart became a little heavy, because he discovered that the origin qi in Ningyu's palm was enough to match an ordinary half-step creation tier, or even an early-stage creation tier martial artist. Although Ling Han's heart was a little heavy, that was all. He did not believe that Ning Yu could contend against him. Blood God's palm. Just when Ning Yu was 20 centimeters away from Ling Han's right fist turned into a palm and directly pushed out. Ling Han was also afraid that Ning Yu would play some kind of trick, so he used 100% of his strength in this palm strike. In Ling Han's opinion, a palm strike with all his strength could even kill an early-stage creation tier martial artist, not to mention Ning Yu. Chi. Because the palm strike was fast, the friction between Ling Han's palm and the void created a chi sound. Ning, you actually dared to exchange a palm strike with Ling Han. Could it be that he has some trump card? I'm not sure. Maybe he has a trump card. Trump card my ass, according to my estimation. Ning Yu will definitely be killed. In the crowd, an elder at the peak stage of Yin Yang tier shouted in a low voice, "We can't wait for death, like idiots. We'd better leave the Forbidden Land, leave Danwu College, leave the capital, run as far as we can. Yes, let's go quickly. It'll be too late if we're late. We can't die without knowing why." Voila! Chapter 727. Pill Cavern Key Chapter 727. Pill Cavern, I'll see who dares to leave. Seeing that the elders wanted to leave the forbidden area, Mu Feng immediately shouted, "This is a moment of life and death for Danwu College. If anyone dares to leave, don't blame me for being impolite." Shua. The elders originally planned to leave, but after hearing Mu Feng shout, they could only stay where they were. Chang Wei and Chang Kuan were already killed, and now Mu Feng was the strongest person in Danwu College. Of course, he was the strongest person apart from Ningyu. These elders' roots were in Danwu College, so leaving now was indeed the most unwise choice. At this moment, not far away, Ningyu and Ling Han's palms touched. The two palms collided with a muffled sound. Puchi! Then, Ningyu felt a sweetness in his throat, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. "Ningyu, I thought you'd have some trump card if you took the initiative to exchange palms with me. So it's the same silver spear and wax head, pretty but useless." Seeing Ningyu's miserable state, Ling Han laughed sinisterly. "Is that so?" Ningyu used his other hand to wipe the blood from the corner of his mouth and revealed a sinister smile. For some reason, seeing Ningyu's smile, Ling Han's heart skipped a beat, and he faintly felt that something was wrong. Humph! Pretentious. Although he was a little worried, Ling Han didn't show it. He said coldly, "Since you refuse to come to your senses, I've decided to tear you into pieces." As soon as the word pieces fell, Ling Han's wrist suddenly exerted force, and an extremely powerful wave of origin qi gushed out from his palm and entered Ningyu's palm. Piu. Whenever origin qi entered Ningyu's palm, Ningyu would spit out a mouthful of blood. In a short few seconds, a total of 12 waves of origin qi gushed out from Ling Han's palm. In other words, Ningyu spat out a total of 12 mouthfuls of blood. Fortunately, Ningyu's physique wasn't weak, or else the 12 mouthfuls of blood would be enough to weaken him. Is that enough? As if the 12 mouthfuls of blood on the ground did not belong to Ningyu, Ningyu still let out a chilling voice. "Not enough. No, you." Ling Han stopped subconsciously when he heard Ningyu's words. However, Ling Han quickly came to his senses. He raised his head and looked at the ferocious Ningyu. His pupils constricted and his face was filled with disbelief. "It's my turn now." Ningyu took a deep breath and exerted some force in his palm. Xiu! In the next instant, a small branch shot out from Ningyu's sleeves and charged toward Ling Han's palm at an astonishing speed. The branch was plain and ordinary. The only difference was that there was a flower bud at its end. Whoosh! The speed of the tree branch was extremely fast. Before Ling Han could even react, the tree branch had already burrowed into his wrist. Then it continued to advance, and in 0.01 seconds, it had arrived at his shoulder. Damn it! Ling Han had not thought that Ning Yu would have such a trump card. He hurriedly struggled out of Ning Yu's palm and channeled a technique to force the tree branch out of his body. Ha! Ling Han, to tell you the truth, the tree branch in your body is a branch of the world tree. With your cultivation level, it is impossible for you to force it out. Ning Yu chuckled bitterly and sent a voice transmission to Ling Han. You should just obediently enjoy it. It won't be long before you become a skeleton like Ling Hu. A branch of the world tree. When he heard that the tree branch in his body was a branch of the world tree, Ling Han's pupils constricted, and an expression of despair appeared on his face. He was not afraid of the branch of the world tree. What he was most afraid of was the branch blossoming. He could feel a powerful devouring power surging out from the flower bud and rampaging through his body. Ningyu was right. If he did not do something, he would definitely be sucked dry before long. Abandon my arm. In the blink of an eye, Ling Han made a decision. Sever his arm. By the looks of it now, this was the only method that could save Ling Han's life. Everything else was useless. You want to abandon your arm? How could it be so simple? A smile spread across Ning Yu's face, and he said loudly, Red Demon, if you don't act now, when will you? In fact, when he heard Ning Yu's words, Ling Han had already realized the severity of the problem. However, he still had a sliver of hope, and so he still used his full strength to sever his right arm. Pooh! Ling Han had just severed his right arm when a red figure darted out from his chest, landing in front of him in the blink of an eye. You! Ling Han looked at the red figure in front of him and stretched out a hand to point. He wanted to say something, yet he felt a sharp pain from his heart. Ling Han lowered his head to look at the fist-sized hole in his chest, his expression filled with terror. What Ling Han was afraid of was yet to come. The branch of the world tree that had entered his body through his wrist had already taken root in his stomach. That flower bud continued to absorb nutrients from his body, and in a short minute it had already doubled in size, looking like it was about to bloom. Ah! Ling Han definitely wouldn't allow the flower bud to bloom on his body. He stretched out his left hand and forcefully grabbed the flower bud, wanting to pull it off. Pooh! However, Ling Han's hand had just grabbed the flower bud when his eyes rolled back and his body directly fell backward. When Ling Han's body fell backward, everyone could clearly see that his originally full body gradually became thin and weak. From the time he fell backward to the time he landed on the ground, it was a distance of 90 degrees. It was as if he had been hollowed out and only a skeleton was left. Shwa! If Ning Yu killing the black-robed martial artist could be said to be a coincidence, killing Chang Kuin could be said to be luck, and killing Ling who could be said to be a blind guess, then now that he had killed Ling Han, it was enough to prove his strength. In less than an hour's time, Ning Yu had killed a total of 2 middle-stage creation tier cultivators, as well as 2 early-stage creation tier cultivators. From now on, this magnificent feat would probably never be accomplished by a martial artist in the early stage of Yin Yang tier. Ning Yu didn't care about the strange expressions of the people around him. He first put the branch of the world tree into his storage ring, and then walked straight towards Mu Feng. After a while, Ning Yu came to Mu Feng's side and said, Dean Mu, Chang Kuin colluded with martial artists from the Blood God Palace. I'm afraid the entire Danwu College needs to be thoroughly investigated. Don't worry this time. There definitely won't be a fish that escapes the net, Mu Feng said in a low voice. Right, Ning Yu, I'll give this to you. Seeing that Ning Yu was about to leave, Mu Feng flicked his wrist, and instantly a cold light flew out. Pa! Ning Yu firmly caught it in his hand, opened his palm and looked at it. He was puzzled and said, "A medicine key? Dean Mu, this is—" This is the medicine key to enter the pill cave," Mu Feng said with a smile. "It's too expensive. I can't take it," Ningyu said hurriedly, and was about to return the medicine key to Mu Feng. "If I give it to you, just take it. If it weren't for you today, Danwu College would definitely fall into the hands of the Blood God Palace. At that time, who knows how many people would suffer?" Mu Feng said. Chapter 728. Swoosh! Swoosh! Mu Feng did not purposely lower his voice, so the surrounding elders could clearly hear his words. This caused a huge uproar in the surroundings. The reason why Mu Feng could become the ruler of Danwu College was because his cultivation had reached the early stage of manifestation realm. On the other hand, it was because he held the key to enter the Pill Cave. The Pill Cave was the foundation of Danwu College. Generally speaking, the Pill Cave had two uses. First, it increased the chances of a peak yin-yang realm martial artist advancing to the half-step manifestation realm. Second, it allowed an early-stage Grade 8 alchemist to have a high chance of becoming a middle-stage Grade 8 alchemist. Either one of these two uses was enough for Mu Feng to enjoy supreme glory in Danwu College. "Dean Mu, I'm afraid this is not appropriate." Although the surrounding elders were shocked, no one came out to oppose Mu Feng. On the contrary, the first elder to oppose Mu Feng was Old Ancestor Jiumo. Old Ancestor Jiumo's expression was solemn as he lowered his voice. "Ningyu is only at the early stage of yin-yang realm. If he holds the pill, cave, key, I'm afraid there's no need to say any more. Everyone has seen Ningyu's strength. It's safest to place the key in his hands." Mu Feng waved his hand, interrupting Old Ancestor Jiumo's words. "Moreover, if anyone dares to speak of this matter, don't blame me for being impolite." After saying this, Mu Feng's eyes slowly swept across the surrounding martial artists. Extremely cold. Mu Feng's meaning was very clear. Whoever dared to oppose Ningyu was opposing him. "Ningyu, if I give you the key, just take it. Don't be like a girl and try to make things difficult." Mu Feng said to Ningyu in a clear voice while secretly sending a soul message. "Among these elders, there must be remnants of Chang Kuin's faction. I want to use you as bait to lure them out." As expected. In fact, when Mu Feng said that he wanted to give the key to Ningyu, Ningyu had already guessed this possibility. Otherwise, even if he was the greatest contributor to Danwu College, he would not have the right to keep the key to the Pill Cave. "Rest assured, I know what to do." Ningyu nodded slightly before placing the key into his storage ring. "All elders, leave the forbidden area." After waiting for Ningyu's confirmation, Mu Feng's voice contained some yuan qi as he loudly said, "No one is allowed to speak of what happened in the forbidden area. Otherwise, you will have to bear the consequences." Buzz. All the elders were waiting for Mu Feng to say this. When Mu Feng's words fell, many elders scattered in an uproar. They tore through the void and left the forbidden area. Almost in an instant, the originally noisy forbidden area instantly quietened down. "Ningyu, let's go to the Pill Cavern." The silence did not last for too long. Mu Feng continued, "If you stay inside for a day or two, both your cultivation and soul power will increase by at least one level. Dean Mu, can you let the Silver Winged Dragon and the others enter the Pill Cavern as well?" With such a good thing, Ningyu did not forget about the Silver Winged Dragon and the others who fought alongside him. "No, it should be the beasts." "It's fine. I said that whoever can enter the Pill Cavern is up to you. I naturally will not go back on my words." Mu Feng smiled. "If that's the case, thank you, Dean Mu. Let's go first. I'm afraid the Silver Winged Dragon and the others will not last long. Since they could enter the Pill Cavern, Ningyu would not foolishly waste time here." The Silver Winged Dragon and the twin-horned beast were not lightly injured. Even the Dark Emperor and Fur Ball in the storage ring were heavily injured. If he wanted them to recover as soon as possible, he could only enter the pill cavern. Ningyu! That, before Ning Yu could take a few steps, a familiar voice rang in his ear. Sha Sha! Hearing this, Ning Yu stopped and looked back. Yang Luin, you also have the right to enter the pill cavern. I treat my own people equally. Ning Yu thought that Yang Luin had stopped him because he wanted to enter the pill cavern. However, Yang Luin's next words made Ning Yu a little angry. I also want to enter the pill cavern, but I stopped you not because of entering the pill cavern, but because that mysterious martial artist from the imperial family contacted me and asked me to return to the imperial family as soon as possible. Yang Luin said awkwardly, F***CK. You're wasting my time on such a trivial matter? Ning Yu's expression was cold, and he even cursed. Tell that mysterious martial artist to wait. We can only return to the imperial family when we leave the pill cavern. All right. Yang Luin still had a lot of things he wanted to say, but after hearing Ningyu's voice and seeing Ningyu's expression, he forcefully swallowed the words at the tip of his mouth. Let's go. Since Yang Luin understood the situation, Ningyu no longer paid attention to him. Instead, he let out a low shout and disappeared behind Mu Feng. The silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast were very sensible. Since Ningyu had left, they definitely wouldn't stay behind. Moreover, Mu Feng had also said that the pill cavern could at least raise Ningyu's cultivation by 1 level. Staying behind for such a good thing would be a fool. It's a waste not to go. Seeing the silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast disappear, Yang Luin muttered to himself. He also tore through the void and disappeared. Old ancestor Mo pondered for a second before his figure flickered, and he left the forbidden area. The reason why old ancestor Mo didn't enter the pill cavern with Ningyu and the others was that the current Danwu College was a mess that he needed to deal with. If he couldn't take charge of the overall situation at this time, the consequences would be unimaginable. Swoosh! At this time, in a certain hall of the imperial family, the void in the main hall suddenly split open, and a few figures quickly appeared. The leading martial artist quickly made his way to the main seat of the hall with a furious look on his face. If Ningyu was here, he would definitely recognize that this martial artist was none other than the emperor of the Xia Kingdom, Ouyang Ba. After Danwu College had dealt with the experts of the Corpsine sect, Ouyang Ba left Yang Luin alone and returned to the imperial family with a few half-step manifestation realm martial artists. Crack! Ouyang Ba slammed his palm on the chair he was sitting on, causing the chair made of 1,000-year sandalwood to shatter into pieces. Humph! Ningyu has gone too far. He has no respect for the imperial family at all. Ouyang Ba's chest heaved up and down as he said angrily, Your Majesty, you don't have to be so angry. Seeing that Ouyang Ba was enraged, a half-step manifestation realm martial artist in the hall immediately said, Everyone has a weakness. I believe Ningyu has a weakness too. As long as we can find out Ningyu's weakness, we'll definitely make him submit to us. Ouyang Tung, what do you think is Ningyu's weakness? Ouyang Ba raised his eyebrows and asked in a deep voice. In this mainland, most people's weaknesses are their family members. Ouyang Tung's lips curled upward as he said with an evil smile, Fine, I'll leave this matter to you. I'll give you 1 day's time. After 1 day, I must see Ningyu's parents no matter what. Ouyang Ba said coldly, Don't worry, Your Majesty. I promise to complete the task. Ouyang Tung said in a sinister tone. Chapter 729. Potential threat. Very well, go now. Don't let me down. Ouyang Ba waved his hand, signaling Ouyang Tung to leave. Don't worry about me. Ouyang Tung patted his chest, and then his figure flashed out of the hall. Thump! Thump! After Ouyang Tung left, Ouyang Ba raised his heel and stomped on the ground rhythmically. Ouyang Ba had long known that Ningyu was a tough nut to crack. After all, he had set up a few traps to make things difficult for Ningyu, but Ningyu had resolved all of them. Let's see how you're going to act so arrogantly against me once Ouyang Teng brings your parents back. This time, Ouyang Ba did not think that Ningyu would be able to resolve the situation. Of course, that was unless Ningyu did not care about his parents' safety. After all, humans could not threaten beasts with humans. However, just as Ouyang Ba was thinking about how to threaten Ningyu's parents with Ningyu, a dull thud was heard coming from the entrance of the hall. Bang! Following this, a figure flew into the hall and landed heavily on the ground. Ouyang Teng. Ouyang Ba's expression turned cold as he stared at the familiar figure on the ground and snapped, "Who injured you like this?" Ouyang Teng's aura was extremely weak at that moment, and he even had a few broken bones. Ouyang Teng was a half-formable realm martial artist, ranked top 5 among the royal family experts. One could imagine how strong the enemy was if he was injured to this extent. "I'm the one who injured him." Ouyang Teng was about to answer when a voice was heard coming from outside the hall. Ouyang Teng's face was filled with terror after hearing the voice. He immediately shut his mouth and did not dare to breathe too loudly. A mysterious martial artist. Ouyang Ba stared at the skinny figure entering the hall and said in a cold voice, "What are you doing here? Didn't the ancestor arrange a place for you?" Ancestor. You must be referring to that useless Ouyang Luan. To be honest, I'm here to look for him. The skinny cultivator curled his lips and stretched out 3 fingers. I won't say anything unnecessary. I'll give you 3 minutes. After 3 minutes, I want to see Ouyang Luan. Otherwise... At this point, the skinny cultivator's gaze swept across the few people in the hall, and he continued, "For every minute that passes, I will destroy 1 person's cultivation." Arrogant. The skinny martial artist's arrogant words angered a half-step manifestation realm expert from the royal family. Without waiting for Ouyang Ba's reply, the half-martial manifestation realm expert tore the space apart and appeared next to the skinny cultivator. The half-step manifestation realm powerhouse threw out a punch, bringing with it a gust of primordial chi wind as it ruthlessly smashed towards the skinny martial artist's head. The half-step manifestation realm powerhouse seemed to have seen the tragic scene of the martial artist's brain exploding. His lips even curled up into an evil smile. However, the half-step manifestation realm powerhouse had clearly overestimated his own strength. Before his fist could land on the skinny martial artist's head, the skinny martial artist had already disappeared. Then, a fist continued to expand in front of his eyes, and finally landed on his nose, where he could not avoid it. The immense pain coming from his nose and head caused the half-step manifestation realm martial artist to let out a blood-curdling screech, like a pig being slaughtered. His body fell backward. Crack! A crisp sound was heard as the half-step manifestation realm martial artist fell to the ground. Just like Ouyang Teng, a few of his bones were broken. Gasp! If it was said that Ouyang Teng's aura was weak due to some kind of conspiracy, then the fact that this half-step manifestation realm martial artist was severely injured caused all the martial artists at the scene, including Ouyang Ba, to inhale deeply. How powerful was this skinny martial artist? To be able to severely injure a half-step manifestation realm martial artist with a single move. His true strength was probably at the early stage of the manifestation realm, or even the intermediate stage of the manifestation realm. On the surface, his cultivation base is only at the intermediate stage of the yin-yang realm, but he must be at the manifestation realm. Ouyang Ba took a deep breath and mumbled, "Why don't we calm him down first and test his strength?" As the emperor of the great Xia kingdom, Ouyang Ba was not stupid. He would not take the risk unless it was a life-and-death situation. Damn it! Go to Danwu College at once. I don't care what you have to do. You must find the ancestor and bring him back. Ouyang Ba clenched his fists and yelled furiously, "Yes, we'll go now." When the remaining 2 half-step to manifestation realm martial artists in the main hall heard Ouyang Ba's voice, They felt as if they had been pardoned from a great crime and hurriedly left. The skinny martial artist did not stop the martial artist from leaving, but said calmly, "You have 2 minutes left. 2 martial artists have just left the hall, so you'll have to bear all the torture they're going to face. Come back at once." This time, Oyingba was dumbfounded as he yelled at the top of his lungs. The 2 martial artists had just escaped from the hall. How could they return so easily? Even after hearing Oyingba's yell, they continued to move forward at full speed, using all their strength to leave the palace. 1 minute left. The skinny martial artist's urging voice was heard once again. Let's give it our all. Now that he had no one to rely on, Oyingba had no choice but to risk his life. Buzz, buzz! In the next instant, Oyingba tore the space apart and appeared next to the skinny martial artist in the blink of an eye. In order to kill the opponent with a single blow, not only did Oyingba wrap his vitality around his wrist, he even wrapped his soul force around his wrist. For many years, Oyingba had been pretending to be weak. His real cultivation base was not the yin-yang realm that the public had speculated, but the half-step manifestation realm. Furthermore, he had reached the peak of the half-step manifestation realm. He was only a step away from the early stage manifestation realm. The attack he had unleashed with all his might was extremely powerful. Even an ordinary early stage manifestation realm martial artist would not dare to take it head-on. I don't care if you're the mysterious martial artist, since you've offended the royal family. You've offended me, I'll make you. Uft. Oyingba uttered coldly as his fist was about to land on the skinny martial artist, as if he was going to win. Dreams were plentiful, but reality was cruel. At that instant, Oyingba experienced the same feeling. His fist did land on the skinny martial artist's head. However, the skinny martial artist that he had hit was not a native, but a shadow. When Oyingba finally reacted, it was too late. The skinny martial artist would never let those who disobeyed his will and challenged his dignity have a good ending. Although the skinny martial artist would not go as far as to kill, it would not be a problem for him to beat Oyingba until he lost control of his bowels. The skinny martial artist thought so, and did as he was told. He continued to throw a few punches, each of which landed on Oyingba's head. In just a few seconds, Oyingba's head was swollen like a pig's. Thump! The skinny martial artist did not want to stop after beating Oyingba's head up. His goal was clear. He wanted to beat Oyingba until he lost control of his bowels. Following this, the skinny martial artist raised his right leg and gave a few kicks. 3 seconds later, the skinny martial artist stopped. As for Oyingba, he fell limply onto the ground, with a pool of yellow liquid flowing out from his body. Sigh, so useless. Forget it. I'll pay a visit to Dongwu College myself. I'd like to see where Ouyang got his courage from to go against my will. Chapter 730. Not the strongest, Dinmu. Is this the Pill Cave? Ningyu had no idea what had happened to Oyingba and the others. After leaving the forbidden area, Ningyu followed Mu Feng to the so-called Pill Cave. In fact, it was no wonder that Ningyu was surprised. In his knowledge, the Pill Cave should be in a cave somewhere. At the very least, it should be a cave. But now they were in a room. If there was anything different about this room, it would be that there was not a single table or chair in the room. It was extremely empty. Silver Winged Dragon and the rest were confused too. Didn't they say that the Pill Cave was a place of treasures? Didn't they say that the Pill Cave could help Ningyu improve his cultivation by level? What the F***CK, Stone Dog Tai La Hee, this is obviously not the Pill Cave. Seeing the reactions of Ningyu and the rest, Mu Feng smiled and stomped his right foot on the ground. Crack! As Mu Feng's right foot landed on the ground, a cracking sound was heard. Whoosh! Following that, Ningyu and the rest saw the ground suddenly sink with Mu Feng at the center. What are you waiting for? The Pill Cave is right below. The moment Mu Feng's head disappeared, a voice was heard in the room. Whoosh! 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 Hearing Mu Feng's voice, Ningyu and the rest snapped out of their daze. They immediately stomped their feet on the ground and dived into the ground from the sunken area. Creak! After Ningyu and the rest disappeared, the sunken ground closed up and everything returned to normal. Dark. Very dark. Very dark. The first, second, and third feeling that Ningyu had after entering the ground were all dark. Furthermore, in the endless darkness, Ningyu could even sense a few powerful auras. These auras were mostly at the peak of the Yin-Yang realm. Furthermore, at the end of the darkness, Ningyu could even sense an extremely powerful aura. The aura had even reached the peak of the initial stage of the manifestation realm. The Pill Cavern is the forbidden area of Danwu College. It enjoys the highest level of protection in Danwu College. Perhaps he was afraid that Ningyu would overthink it, Mu Feng explained. Although I'm the dean of Danwu College, I'm not like Ouyang. My strength isn't the strongest in Danwu College. Aren't you the strongest in Danwu College? Hearing that, Ningyu raised an eyebrow and suddenly thought of something. He asked, in Danwu College, does the old headmaster know of an old man named Wu Xie? When Ningyu left Tianjin City, his father, Ningyu, had given him a pendant, saying that he was afraid that he would not be able to enter Danwu College. If he was unable to get into Danwu College, he could give the semicircular pendant to an old man named Wu Xie, saying that Wu Xie could help him. However, Ningyu easily entered Danwu College and entered Danwu College as the top scorer in the Sacred Institute's examination. Therefore, Ningyu temporarily forgot about Wu Xie. Hearing Mu Feng's words, Ningyu recalled. He had always felt that Wu Xie was a little special. After all, the Red Demon's sword had been trapped in the pendant for a long time. Wu Xie. Mu Feng frowned and tried hard to recall. After a while, Mu Feng shook his head and said, I remember the names of all the elders and mentors in Danwu College. I have no impression of the old man, Wu Xie, you mentioned. Is there something important? Seeing Ningyu's disappointed look, Mu Feng continued, If there's something important, I'll immediately ask someone to investigate. As long as Wu Xie is really in Danwu College, we'll definitely be able to find him. Actually, it's nothing important. It's just that my father mentioned Wu Xie before. Ningyu said, Leave it to me. After we leave the pill cave, I'll immediately get someone to investigate. Mu Feng patted his chest. If that's the case, thank you, old dean. Ningyu thanked him sincerely. Haha, the entrance to the pill cave is just ahead. Let's speed up a little. Mu Feng smiled faintly, then suddenly sped up and dashed forward. Not long after, Mu Feng stopped in front of a stone door. Ningyu, insert the medicine spoon into the hole. Mu Feng pointed to the hole on the stone door and said to Ningyu, Click. Ningyu moved to the stone door and inserted the medicine spoon into the hole. As soon as the medicine spoon was inserted into the hole, the stone door slowly moved. Creak! The heavy stone door rubbed against the ground, making creaking sounds. When the stone door was completely open, Mu Feng stepped in first. Behind Mu Feng, Ningyu and Ouyang followed closely. Hiss! As soon as he entered the pill cave, Ningyu was shocked by the scene in front of him. In the air, countless light spots flew past at high speed. These light spots were roughly divided into two types. One was white and the other was gold. The white light spots contain energy, which is the so-called pure vitality. Mu Feng explained. As for the gold light spots, it contains pure soul power. Swish! Swish! Without waiting for Ningyu to speak, the silver winged dragon and the twin-horned beast rushed out. Their target was clear. That was the white light spots. The silver winged dragon and the twin-horned beast were still seriously injured. To them, the vitality was a life-saving straw. The pill cave is huge. This is just the entrance. The white and gold light spots are very small. Mu Feng continued. If you can reach the depths of the pill cave, you can even find larger light spots. But I don't agree with you going deep into the pill cave because you might encounter a pill puppet there. Pill puppet? What's that? Ningyu frowned. Because the pill cave has existed for a long time. It gave birth to a type of virtual body. This kind of virtual body devours the white and gold light spots for a long time, so it's powerful. Mu Feng sighed softly and said helplessly, "Actually, the pill puppet is the true treasure of the pill cave. If you can devour the lowest grade pill puppet, not only can your cultivation easily reach the yin-yang intermediate stage, but your soul power can also advance to the Tier 6 intermediate stage. I have to remind you that the lowest grade pill puppet strength is suppressed to the creation realm intermediate stage. You must not provoke them." Seeing that Ningyu had an urge to give it a try, Mu Feng hurriedly said, "Even the strongest person in the Danwu Academy has no way of contending with the lowest grade pill puppet. They can only govern the pill cavern by dividing the region. Don't worry, Dean. I'll just walk around the periphery. I definitely won't enter the depths of the pill cave," Ningyu said. "That's good. I'll find a place to rest first. Do as you please." Mu Feng said this, then tore through the void and disappeared in the blink of an eye. "I'm sure you heard what Dean Mu said. I don't want you to provoke the pill puppet." Ningyu turned his head to look at Ouyang Luin, and his figure gradually became illusory. "How would I dare to provoke the pill puppet?" Ouyang Luin muttered to himself, then hurriedly went to capture the light spots. The pill cave wasn't a place anyone could enter, so Ouyang Luin naturally cherished this opportunity. Swish! After leaving the entrance of the pill cave, Ningyu flew straight to the place with the highest concentration of light spots. After about 10 minutes, Ningyu stopped. Chapter 731. By de-earning, you first devoured the white light spots. The white speck of light contained pure yuan qi, while the golden speck of light contained pure soul power. Ningyu was well aware of his current situation. His soul force was at the early stage of grade 6. Even if he advanced to the mid-stage of grade 6, his strength would not increase much. Only by advancing his cultivation from the early stage to the mid-stage, or even the late stage, would there be a qualitative change. Buzz! Ningyu continuously devoured the white light spots and felt the violent yuan qi wreaking havoc in his body. Then it surged into his consciousness. Ningyu had already expected this situation. He hurriedly used the spirit transformation technique to control the yuan qi into his golden core. When he was at the peak of Yuan Dan, Ningyu had a total of 7 golden cores in his consciousness. When he advanced to the early stage of Yin Yang, Ningyu's 7 golden cores shattered and reformed into a single golden core. However, this single golden core contained more energy than the previous 7 golden cores. Although Ningyu devoured a few light spots, it was like a stone sinking into the ocean. It did not impact his golden core. However, Ningyu was not discouraged. He sat cross-legged and continued to devour the white light spots around him. Swoosh! While Ningyu was devouring the white light spots with all his might, 4 head-sized light spots were slowly moving not far in front of him. 4 light spots, 2 white and 2 gold. Wherever these 4 light spots went, not a single blade of grass grew. No, it should be said that there was nothing left. Be it the white or gold light spots, they were all devoured by them. Sigh, what bad luck. The treasure land has been occupied by the Diablo. We can only come to the periphery of the pill cave to devour the light spots. One of the white light spots complained, "If this continues, when will we be able to advance?" You still want to advance? Be content. Fortunately, we ran fast. Otherwise, we would have all been devoured by the Diablo. The other white light spot was scared when it mentioned the Diablo. That's fine too. We can proclaim ourselves as kings in the pill cave's outer perimeter. It's quite free and unfettered, said the golden speck of light. Freedom my ass. If we don't replenish our energy for a long time, our strength will quickly decline. The golden dot at the side didn't think so. He was still very pessimistic. Sigh, I haven't seen anyone for a long time. What if there's someone at this time? The first white dot to speak sighed softly. Before he finished speaking, he pointed to the front and exclaimed, "It's an early-stage yin-yang cultivator. It really is a human." The other 3 dots of light also discovered the martial artists not far away. With a shake of their bodies, they transformed from dots of light into human forms. Seeing that the 3 of them had transformed into their human forms, the first white dot of light that spoke also suddenly turned and transformed into a young man who looked like a scholar. I didn't expect to encounter a living human right after escaping. TSK, TSK. Devouring humans is much better than devouring motes of light, said the scholarly young man with a sinister smile. Let's go take a look. As for the other 3 spots of light, one was dressed in white and the other 2 were dressed in golden robes. It was obvious that the golden-robed man was a golden dot of light, while the white-robed man was a white dot of light. I've finally recovered to my peak state. Now I can try to break through to the mid-yin-yang stage. Oh no! The spiritual art devoured primordial qi very quickly. In just a few minutes, Ningyu had already recovered to his peak state. Just as Ningyu was about to try to break through to the mid-yin-yang stage, his expression changed drastically, and he hurriedly stood up. Swoosh! 4 martial artists suddenly appeared in front of him. Although he didn't know the specific cultivation of these 4 martial artists, Ningyu could still sense traces of a terrifying aura from them. This terrifying aura indicated that these 4 martial artists had reached the mid-yin-yang stage. Could they be the pill puppets that Dinmu mentioned? Ningyu's heart skipped a beat, and he vaguely felt that something was wrong. However, on second thought, this place was still very far away from the depths of the pill cave. It didn't make sense for there to be a pill puppet here. Brat, you're lucky to have met us. We're in a bad mood today, so we've decided to split you into 4, half for each of us. The golden-robed man's words were extremely shocking. The moment he opened his mouth, Ningyu's expression completely darkened. Who are you? Ningyu asked in a deep voice. Who are you? Hee, we're not humans. I'm Jin De-E and he's Jin De-Air. The golden-robed man pointed at himself, and then at the other golden-robed man. I'm by De-E and he's by De-Air. The white-robed man shrugged. Upon hearing that, Ningyu's face darkened. What kind of F***king names are these? White coat, golden coat? Are they called coats because they don't have clothes to wear? I don't care what coat you're wearing. In any case, this is Danwu College's Pill Cave. What do you want? Ningyu wanted to calm the 4 of them down while he contacted the silver winged dragon and the twin horns beast. Even if Ningyu wanted to run, he wouldn't be able to escape from 4 mid-stage manifestation realm experts. He could only contact the silver winged dragon and the twin horns beast to think of a solution. Don't talk nonsense with him. By De-Air, go and split him into 4. We're going to enjoy him. Bai De-E waved his hand, gesturing for Bai De-Air to act as soon as possible. Got it. Bai De-Air had long wanted to taste something new. As soon as Bai De-Yi's voice fell, he tore through the void and charged toward Ningyu. Damn it! At this critical moment, Ningyu's first thought was to escape. However, he gave up on that idea in a flash. Because he definitely couldn't escape, he could only fight head-on. That way he might have a chance. Palm of life and death. Ningyu channeled all the primordial qi in his sea of consciousness into his palm and struck out with his most powerful palm. Netherworld Samsara Palm's 7th style. Palm of life and death. Bang! However, Ningyu's most powerful move was not even worth mentioning in Bai De-Air's hands. Bai De-Air struck out with his palm and blasted Ningyu several meters back. Uft! Although Ningyu was prepared for the attack of a mid-stage manifestation realm martial artist, he was still severely injured and his aura was slightly weak. Can't even withstand a single blow. Bai Daer did not stop after his attack succeeded. Instead, he continued to attack. Swoosh! However, what happened next left Bai Daer dumbfounded. Before Bai Daer could reach Ningyu, a branch rushed out from Ning Yu's storage ring. Hiss! Furthermore, there was a budding flower bud on this branch. Although the flower bud had not bloomed, it was still gorgeous and colorful. The most terrifying thing was that a monstrous engulfment force surged out from the flower bud. This engulfment force arrived beside Bai Daer in an instant and forced him back to his original form under Bai Daer's horrified gaze. White speck of light. Ning Yu was dumbfounded as he looked at Bai Daer's original form. Just as he had guessed, Bai Daer was not a human, but a pill puppet. A genuine pill puppet. Bai Daer, save me. Chapter 732. Flower petals bloom. Save my ass. Run. Bai Dae wasn't a fool. He wouldn't foolishly try to save Bai Daer. The powerful devouring power that erupted from the flower bud made even him feel guilty. He couldn't muster any thoughts of resisting. Perhaps running was the best choice right now. Swoosh! Swoosh! Seeing Bai Dae escape, Jean Dae and Jean Daer also dashed out and ran into the distance. Chi-chi! Before Bai Dae and the others could get far, Bai Daer was swallowed by the flower bud. Whoosh! After swallowing Bai Daer, the flower bud finally transformed. One of its petals suddenly split open. Buzz, buzz! The blossoming of the petal seemed to make the flower bud even stronger. In the blink of an eye, 3 terrifying devouring powers rushed out from the flower bud. These 3 devouring powers were not only fast, but they were also much stronger than the one that swallowed Bai Daer. Almost in an instant, the 3 devouring powers caught up to Bai Dae and the others. I'll go all out. Pucci! Feeling the devouring power assaulting him from behind, Bai Dae shouted in a low voice and turned around with the intention of resisting it. However, Bai Dae's idea was perfect, but reality was cruel. Bai Dae wasn't much better off than Bai Daer. He was first forced into his original form by the devouring powers, then sucked into the flower bud. Hiss! Seeing Bai Dae's pitiful state, Jean Dae and Jean Daer sucked in a cold breath. Their hearts sank to the bottom. Among the 4 of them, Bai Dae was the strongest. He had the most trump cards. Even someone as strong as Bai Dae was easily swallowed. It was obvious that Jean Dae and Jean Daer wouldn't have it easy. Plop! Since they couldn't escape, Jean Dae and the others bent their knees and knelt on the ground. Human were only the weakest pill puppets. You're so strong. The evil king is your real target. Jean Dae shouted, hoping that Ningyu would spare his life. Who's the evil king? Ningyu separated a strand of soul force and stopped the flower bud temporarily. The evil king is the strongest pill puppet in the pill cavern. His strength has reached the late stage of the manifestation realm. Jean Dae seemed to have found a life-saving straw and hurriedly said, as long as you can let this flower bud devour the evil king, it will definitely be able to fully bloom. Ning Yu had once counted that the flower bud had a total of 8 petals. At this rate, even if the flower bud swallowed up Jean Dae and Jean Dae, it still wouldn't be able to fully bloom. That's a good idea, but why should I believe you? Although Ning Yu really wanted to see the flower bud bloom, he still frowned. The Diablo is in the depths of the pill cavern. If you don't believe me, you can come with me. You'll naturally believe me when you get there, Jean Dae continued. Humph. The evil king is indeed at the late stage of the blessed realm, but he is only 1 step away from advancing to the peak of the blessed realm. When he saw that Ningyu was about to be convinced by him, Jean Dae snorted in his heart and said, not only is the evil king strong, he's also incredibly hot-tempered. At that time, You will definitely fight, and when the sandpiper and the clam fight, the fisherman will benefit from it. Ha ha! Before Jean Day could finish his sweet dream, it was mercilessly shattered by Ning Yu's next words. Go to the depths of the pill cavern with you? I'm not an idiot. Ning Yu pursed his lips and said, I didn't look for you, but you wanted to come and eat me. You can only blame yourselves for being too greedy. When Ning Yu said this, Jean Day's face turned pale. Run. At that moment, Jean Day thought of escaping again, and he put it into action. Ning Yu's intention was very clear. He would definitely not let him go. If he did not run now, when would he run? Hee, you're only thinking of running now. Don't you think it's a little too late? Ning Yu smiled and controlled the flower bud to chase after Jean Day. The flower bud had wanted to swallow Jean Day for a long time. Now that it had received Ning Yu's reply, two terrifying engulfing forces surged out of its body again. Ah! Jean Day and Jean Day met the same fate. After letting out a shriek like a pig being slaughtered, he transformed into his true form. As soon as they returned to their true forms, they were swallowed by the flower bud. Whoosh! Whoosh! After devouring Jean Day and Jean Day, another 2 petals bloomed. In addition to the previous 2 petals, there were a total of 4 petals blooming on the flower bud's body. However, the 4 petals only bloomed for a short while before closing again. What an ingrate! After devouring so much yuan qi and soul power, he didn't even think of sharing some with me, Ning Yu mumbled as he watched the blooming petals close. Whoosh! Just as Ning Yu was mumbling to himself, a beam of light rushed out of the flower bud and entered his body in an instant. Ning Yu only felt a monstrous wave of yuan qi wreaking havoc in his body, and then it surged into his consciousness. Spiritual transformation technique. The sudden change did not cause Ning Yu to lose his mind. He quickly sat down cross-legged and began to use the spiritual transformation technique to start depleting the yuan qi in his consciousness. Whoosh! However, before Ning Yu finished depleting his yuan qi, another golden beam of light rushed out of the flower bud and entered his body in the blink of an eye. Pure soul power! Ning Yu's mouth was slightly agape, and his eyes were wide open. He could not believe everything that was happening. With this pure soul power and yuan qi, Ning Yu had reason to believe that he would be able to advance very soon. Ning Yu took a deep breath and let the flower bud float in the air. He was going to make a breakthrough with all his might. With the flower bud protecting him, Ning Yu was very relieved. That was because the flower bud was the natural nemesis of the Dan Qi. In Ning Yu's consciousness, the remaining golden core was rapidly devouring the pure yuan qi in the beam of light. At this speed, Ning Yu would be able to advance further and reach the mid-stage of Yin-Yang realm in half an hour at most. As for Ning Yu's grade 6 soul power, it was madly merging with the pure soul power that was being fed back by the flower bud. At this speed, the strength of Ning Yu's soul power would reach the mid-stage of Yin-Yang realm in 40 minutes at most, or even the late stage of Yin-Yang realm. Time passed by minute. In the blink of an eye, half an hour had passed. Bam! When the 31st minute arrived, a muffled sound suddenly came from Ning Yu's consciousness. Immediately, a monstrous aura spread out in all directions with Ning Yu as the center. Rumble! After the monstrous aura spread out, a group of 2 behemoths to the west of Ning Yu revealed a shocked expression. It's in the direction where Ning Yu is. Ning Yu recognized the 2 behemoths. One was a twin-horned beast, the other was a silver-winged dragon. Then what are we waiting for? Let's hurry over before something unexpected happens. The twin-horned beast yelled and directly tore through the void, disappearing in an instant. To the east of Ning Yu, Mu Feng looked in the direction where the powerful aura was rising and frowned slightly. He murmured, "Could it be that Ning Yu broke through?" "Not good. If it's really Ning Yu breaking through, then it'll be terrible." Mu Feng did not dare to think too much and hurriedly rushed out. Just as he said, if it was really Ning Yu breaking through, it would indeed be very dangerous. There were many Dan Qi in the depths of the pill cave. The reaction caused by Ning Yu breaking through was too great, and it was very likely to attract the attention of powerful Dan Qi. Chapter 733. Intimidate Yu Fu. In a certain area of the pill cave, Ning Yu slowly exhaled a mouthful of turbid air. After 30 minutes of all-out effort, Ning Yu finally broke through to middle stage yin-yang realm at the 31st minute. Although it was only a small increase in his cultivation base, Ning Yu could clearly feel that his strength had increased tremendously. Even if I don't use my soul power now, I'm fearless against early-stage manifestation realm martial artists. Feeling the majestic vitality waves in his consciousness, Ning Yu took a deep breath and mumbled. Even if I encounter a middle-stage manifestation realm martial artist, I can still escape easily if I can't beat him. Ning Yu had an accurate judgment of his own strength. Without using his soul power, he could fight against early-stage manifestation realm martial artists. Once he used his soul power, he could even be on par with a middle-stage manifestation realm martial artist. After all, Ning Yu's current strongest technique was the Netherworld Samsara Palm, and the Netherworld Samsara Palm was a soul attack technique. Of course, the prerequisite for Ning Yu to be on par with a middle-stage manifestation realm martial artist was that his soul power had to reach middle stage 6. Otherwise, it would all be empty talk. Devour. Naturally, Ning Yu would not sit there and wait like a fool. He withdrew his aura and focused on devouring the pure soul power that the flower bud sent back. In the first minute, Ning Yu devoured 1/5 of the pure soul power that the flower bud sent back to his body. In the second minute, he devoured 2/5. In the third minute, the fourth minute, until the 5th minute, bang! A dull sound came from Ning Yu's body. Swoosh! Ning Yu abruptly opened his eyes after the muffled sound rang out. A berserk soul fluctuation burst out from his body. Not bad. I've actually broken through to middle stage 6. The soul wave around Ning Yu flashed for a moment before returning to normal. Initially, Ning Yu thought that he could only increase his soul power to middle stage 6 at most, and it would be more difficult for him to break through to middle stage 6. Unexpectedly, his soul power really did break through to middle stage 6. Life and Death Palm. After his soul force had reached the late stage of grade 6, Ning Yu flicked his wrist and impatiently displayed the Life and Death Palm. In order to test the might of the Life and Death Palm, Ning Yu even injected the essence energy in his sea of consciousness into his palm, executing the strongest move he could execute at his current stage. Rumble. In mid-air, a huge, blood-colored handprint suddenly appeared, covering the sky and covering the sun. It was abnormally huge. Who? Suddenly, Ning Yu's eyes turned cold. With a low grunt, he controlled the blood-colored palm to attack into the distance. In the direction of the blood-colored palm print, 3 blurry figures were faintly discernible, becoming clearer and clearer. It's Dean Mu and the others. After seeing the person's face, Ning Yu hurriedly sent a portion of his soul power into the blood-red palm print, continuously weakening its power. Even if Ning Yu went all out, when the palm imprint reached Mu Feng and the others, it still had 60% of its power. Not good. F***CK. Who has the guts to attack us? The sudden appearance of the blood-colored palm print caused Mu Feng and the silver winged dragon's expressions to change greatly. They hurriedly executed their own trump cards to resist. Bang! 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 Although Mu Feng and the others had all executed their strongest trump cards, the result was not ideal. 3 consecutive crisp sounds rang out. Mu Feng and the other 2 fell to the ground like kites, with their strings cut. Puff! Even Mu Feng, who had weak resistance, spat out a large mouthful of blood. His breath was slightly weak. The silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast did not fare any better. They fell to the ground with their mouths on the ground, looking very miserable. "Damn it, who is it? Damn it, it's you!" The silver-winged dragon did a carp roll and stood up from the ground. However, just as he was about to explode in anger, he saw a familiar figure rushing over from afar. He was indeed very familiar with this figure. It was Ningyu. "I'm very sorry. I didn't know it was you guys. If I had known, I wouldn't have treated you guys like this." Ningyu scratched his head awkwardly. He was a little embarrassed. No matter what, he was the one who made the mistake first. Admitting his mistake was always the right thing to do. "Ningyu, what move did you execute just now? Why is it so powerful?" Mu Feng did not have the intention to blame Ningyu. He asked in confusion. One had to know that if he had not used all his trump cards to resist, he would have most likely died. "Life and Death Palm is my strongest move at this stage," Ningyu said honestly. "After executing this move, I have already exhausted all my strength. I need to rest for a long time to recover." In order to not cause an even greater shock, Ningyu had to fabricate a reasonable reason. Otherwise, Mu Feng would probably treat him as a monster. Little did he know that Mu Feng had already treated him as a monster. "You've advanced to the middle stage of the Yin-Yang realm." Everyone had their privacy. Mu Feng felt that the palm earlier was Ningyu's privacy. Hence, he did not continue to harp on it. Instead, he changed the topic and said, "Also, if I'm not wrong, the strength of your soul force has probably reached the advanced stage of the 6th grade. Hee. Nothing can be hidden from the Dean." Ningyu laughed. "How about this? You stay in the pill cavern for a while longer. I have something to take care of," Mu Feng said after some thought. "What is it?" "Do you need my help?" Ningyu saw Mu Feng's serious expression and felt that something was about to happen. "Nothing big. I'm just going to clean up the traitor of Danwu College." Mu Feng waved his hand and tore through the void, disappearing in the blink of an eye. "Ningyu, you injured us by accident. You must compensate us with 3 Shenyang pills." After Mu Feng left, the silver-winged dragon demanded an exorbitant price and demanded Shenyang pills from Ningyu. When Mu Feng was around, the silver-winged dragon would definitely not want to expose the existence of the Shenyang pills. Now that Mu Feng had left the pill cavern, the silver-winged dragon naturally had to demand for the Shenyang pills openly. Bullsh *T. At most 1 pill per person. I'll pay you back in 2 months. You could not be bothered with the silver-winged dragon. He did not beat around the bush and said directly, "I promised you guys 1 Shenyang pill before. Now, I've promised you another one. 2 in total. You and the twin-horned beast will each get 1 Shenyang pill every month. As for the timing, it's entirely up to me. All right, you guys can go wherever you want now. I have no time to waste with you guys." Swoosh, swoosh. In the next moment, Ningyu's soul force surged as he controlled the Dark Emperor and Furball to fly out of the storage ring. The pill cavern was a good place to recuperate. In the past, Ningyu did not dare to let the Dark Emperor and Furball out to recuperate out of fear of the pill puppet. But now, with the flower bud around, all these problems were easily solved. F***CK. Poor judgment of people. Looking at the Dark Emperor and Furball flying out of the storage ring, the silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast could do nothing even though they were furious. Right now, their relationship with Ningyu had been swapped. Ningyu was no longer the one listening to their orders. Instead, they had to listen to Ningyu's arrangements. Chapter 734. Mu Tian. Inside the pill cavern, the Dark Emperor and Furball were greedily devouring the white light spots, while Ningyu sat down cross-legged to stabilize his cultivation. Ningyu was different from other warriors. He had advanced to the mid-stage of the Yin-Yang realm and did not have a period of weakness. On the contrary, the Yuan Qi in his consciousness was unusually violent and seemed to be on the verge of a breakthrough. The current situation was very awkward for Ningyu. On one hand, he wanted to break through to the late stage of the Yin-Yang realm. On the other hand, he did not have enough Yuan Qi in his consciousness. According to his deduction, he needed a large amount of Yuan Qi to successfully break through to the late stage of the Yin-Yang realm. At the very least, he needed twice the amount of Yuan Qi that the flower bud gave him. After much consideration, Ningyu decided to stabilize his cultivation first. If there was enough time, he would try to enter the depths of the pill cavern. After all, with the flower bud, Ningyu was not afraid of the so-called pill puppet at all. We have to be smart when dealing with Ningyu in the future. The silver-winged dragon and the double-horned beast muttered to themselves before finding a good place to devour the flower bud. As Ningyu and the rest were in the pill cavern, they knew nothing about what was happening outside. At the same time, Danwu College, in a square somewhere in the sacred college, dozens of warriors had already gathered in the square. Without a doubt, most of these warriors were students of the sacred college of Danwu College. A small number of them were teachers of Danwu College. In the middle of the square, a skinny warrior dressed in black stood there. Beside the skinny warrior, 2 or 3 warriors could be seen lying down. These warriors were mostly at the peak of the primal core realm. There was even one who was at the early stage of the Yin-Yang realm. It was obvious that these warriors had all been defeated by the skinny warrior. Cough, cough. The skinny cultivator's eyes slowly swept across the crowd. He coughed twice and said indifferently, "I only have one purpose this time, and that is to find Ouyang Lun. I'll give you 3 minutes. If I don't see Ouyang Lun after 3 minutes, I'll kill one person every minute." Gasp! Hearing the skinny cultivator's words, coupled with the powerful strength he had displayed, many students gasped. No one dared to step forward to refute him. This friend, we don't even know who Ouyang Lun is. Where do you want us to find him?" After a while, seeing that no one dared to speak, Li Tongtian braced himself and said, "Even if you want to find Ouyang Lun, you have to tell us who he is first." "Oh, you want to know who Ouyang Lun is?" Hearing Li Tongtian's words, the skinny martial artist raised an eyebrow and said calmly, "Since you have such courage, I'll tell you who Ouyang Lun is." Whoosh! As soon as he finished speaking, the thin cultivator rose from the ground and disappeared in an instant. Not good. The moment the skinny martial artist disappeared, Li Tongtian sensed that something was wrong. However, even if he realized it, it was useless. Bang! The skinny martial artist appeared beside him in an instant, and his fist, which carried a strong fluctuation of Yuan Qi, landed on his chest. The excruciating pain from his chest caused Li Tongtian to stumble back a few feet and fly towards a giant rock at the edge of the square. The giant rock at the edge of the square was very large, and there was a flying sword stuck in it. Seeing the flying sword stuck in the rock, the surrounding students turned pale. If Li Tongtian had hit the flying sword, he would have been crippled at the very least. Swoosh! Just as everyone was worrying about Li Tongtian, a figure suddenly dashed out from afar and caught Li Tongtian in an instant. Phew! Seeing that Li Tongtian had been saved, many students heaved a sigh of relief. That was close. If progenitor Jiao had appeared just a little later, Li Tongtian would have been dead. Humph! Who dares to cause trouble in Danwu College's territory? Progenitor Jiao put Li Tongtian down and snorted coldly. Progenitor Jiao was furious. He had been busy dealing with the remnants of the Corpsine sect when he heard that someone had caused trouble in the Sacred Institute. He immediately put down everything and rushed over. Now that he thought about it, if he had hesitated for even a moment, the fake holy son of Danwu College, Li Tongtian, could have really gone to heaven. It was really frightening to think about it. Oh, I just beat up the young one, and here comes the old one. The thin martial artist raised his eyebrows and said, Listen up, I will never change my name or my surname, Mu Tian. Mu Tian? Progenitor Jiu Mo frowned. Never heard of you. Of course you haven't heard of someone from a small place, Mu Tian said disdainfully. 1 minute has passed. You have 2 minutes left. Arrogant. As a cultivator who was second only to Mu Feng in Dongwu College, Progenitor Jiu Mo naturally would not choose to compromise. He let out a low roar and dashed toward Mu Tian at a rapid speed. Although Mu Tian was only at the mid-stage of Yin-Yang realm, Progenitor Jiu Mo did not underestimate him. Progenitor Jiu Mo had interacted with Ningyu before, so he knew that some heaven-defying monsters could kill people who were a few levels above them. If he underestimated such monsters, he would only be at a disadvantage. However, even though Progenitor Jiu Mo did not hold back, he still did not have an easy time against Mu Tian's powerful strength. Crack! Mu Tian punched out and collided head-on with Progenitor Jiu Mo's fist. The result was tragic. Not only was Progenitor Jiu Mo knocked back dozens of feet, but even his fist was broken with a cracking sound. If Li Tongqian's defeat in a single move had caused the surrounding students to suck in a breath of cold air, then now that Forefather Jiu Mo had been defeated in a single move, the surrounding martial artists were all dumbfounded. They didn't even dare to make a sound. Silence! Silence! A deathly silence. The moment an expert made a move, it was obvious. After this exchange, Progenitor Jiu Mo basically judged that Mu Tian's strength was at least at the early stage of the manifestation realm, or even stronger. I must inform Dean Mu to come over. Progenitor Jiu Mo gritted his teeth and took out a crystal ball, intending to crush it. Bang! However, how could Progenitor Jiu Mo's small movements escape Mu Tian's notice? Before he could crush the crystal ball, Mu Tian flicked his sleeves, and a cold light shot out and hit him in the chest. The already heavily injured Progenitor Jiu Mo's aura became even weaker after being hit by this cold light. Trash who has always been defeated by me in one move can't do anything without my permission, Mu Tian said calmly. Suddenly, Mu Tian's eyebrows twitched. Looking at the void not far away, he said indifferently, "Come on out. If I didn't guess wrongly, you should be the strongest person in the Danwu Academy." Buzz! As soon as Mu Tian finished speaking, the void trembled. Then a figure appeared from the void. Dean! The surrounding Danwu College students cried out excitedly when they saw the figure that had suddenly appeared. Mu Feng was the dean of Danwu College. Many students knew that. In their minds, Mu Feng was the guardian of Danwu College. Whenever Danwu College was in danger, he would always appear. Chapter 735. Unrivaled, not bad, not bad. He's actually at the early stage of the manifestation realm. Looking at Mu Feng, who was slowly walking towards him, Mu Tian gloomily said, "It's just that there's still a long way to go before I reach the middle stage of the manifestation realm." Old Dean, be careful. This Mu Tian is not simple. Before Mu Feng could reach Mu Tian, Ancestor Jiu Mo's voice resounded in his mind. "Don't worry, I know what to do." Mu Feng naturally knew that Mu Tian was difficult to deal with. He took a deep breath to appease old Ancestor Jiu Mo and slightly quickened his pace. After a while, Mu Feng arrived beside Mu Tian and said in a deep voice, "Speak. What exactly do you want?" "I don't want to do anything. I just want to see Ouyang Luan." Mu Tian shrugged and said, "Ouyang Luan?" Mu Feng was startled at first. Then he calmly said, "Ouyang Luan is the ancestor of the imperial family. If you want to see him, you should go to the imperial family. What is the meaning of coming here?" "Ha ha ha, do you take me for a fool?" Mu Tian laughed hysterically and spoke in a cold voice. "The emperor of the Great Xia Kingdom, Ouyang Ba, personally said that Ouyang Luan is in Danwu College. You better stop wasting time. There is still 1 minute left." If I don't see Ouyang Luan, I will start a massacre. Humph! Mu Tian, don't go too far. Mu Feng snorted coldly. I'm going too far. That's because I have the qualifications to bully others. Do you? Mu Tian curled his lips and said. This sentence caused Mu Feng's anger to soar to the heavens. This was Danwu College. It was not a place for an outsider to behave atrociously. Therefore, Mu Feng moved. Whoosh! When he didn't move, it was fine, but when he did, it was shocking. After staying in the pill cavern for such a long time, Mu Feng had already recovered to his peak condition. Even though he was still a distance away from the middle stage of the manifestation realm, he was not as weak as Mu Tian had made him out to be. Sigh, there are some people in this world who are not afraid of death. When Mu Tian saw Mu Feng dashing towards him, he sighed and slowly closed his eyes. Hua! When the surrounding students saw Mu Tian closing his eyes, they all revealed looks of excitement. Some of the students even started discussing among themselves. How arrogant! The patriarch is at the early stage of the manifestation realm, yet he dares to be careless when fighting him. That's right. I'm not surprised that Mu Tian was able to defeat Patriarch Jiumo. After all, Patriarch Jiumo is at the half step to manifestation realm. But Patriarch Jiumo is at the early stage of the manifestation realm. Mu Tian is clearly courting death by doing this. Everyone, keep your eyes open. Don't miss. What? Seeing Mu Tian close his eyes, the crowd of students began to discuss. However, before the last mid-primal core disciple could finish a sentence, his eyes widened in disbelief. Mu Feng's iron-like fist actually passed through Mu Tian's body. After image. When the palm passed through Mu Tian's body, Mu Feng's expression changed greatly as he hurriedly retreated. Because even he didn't know exactly when Mu Tian had vanished. The fact that Mu Tian was able to hide from his eyes and senses meant that Mu Tian was very powerful. At the very least, he had to be extremely careful. Otherwise, he would be doomed. What happened next caused Mu Feng's mouth to gape slightly as he stood rooted to the ground. Unknowingly, Mu Tian had already appeared behind him. Mu Tian's right hand pushed out horizontally and smashed onto Mu Feng's back. It looked like an ordinary palm, but it was extremely powerful. Uft! Dark red blood spurted out from Mu Feng's mouth. After the blood spurted out, Mu Feng's aura dropped rapidly. In just a few seconds, Mu Feng's aura dropped from the early stage of the manifestation stage to the primal core stage. At this moment, Mu Feng's appearance was extremely miserable. Not only was his face devoid of blood, but it even gradually turned black. In the end, his entire face was extremely black. Even when he fought with the powerhouses from the Blood God Palace, Mu Feng didn't end up in such a state. It could be said that Mu Feng's current situation was the most miserable and depressing he had ever been since he advanced to the early stage of the manifestation stage. Sigh, what a pity. Time's up. Mu Tian didn't care about Mu Feng's miserable appearance. He sighed lightly and said indifferently, I've already said that if I don't see Ouyang Luan in 3 minutes, I'll kill a Danwu College student every minute that passes. After that, Mu Tian's gaze slowly swept across the surrounding students. Finally, it stopped on a mid-primal core stage student. In the first minute, I'll start with you. Mu Tian's face was expressionless. After saying this, his body melted into the void. In an instant, Mu Tian appeared beside the mid-primal core stage martial artist. Bang! Mu Tian threw a punch directly at the mid-primal core stage student's chest, causing him to retreat more than 10 steps. Oh yes, I've said that I'll kill a student every minute. I'm a man of my word. It hasn't even been a minute, so I'll let him live for now. In another 30 seconds, I'll kill him. Mu Tian didn't use his full strength in this punch. In fact, he only used less than 5% of his strength. But even so, the mid-primal core stage student couldn't withstand it, and his aura was extremely weak. The rest of the Danwoo College students and even the Danwoo College tutors didn't dare to step forward to help after seeing the miserable state of this mid-primal core stage student. The situation was already very clear. Whoever stepped forward to help would also end up in the same miserable state. Tick-tock, tick-tock, time passed second by second. 30 seconds. Every second that passed was like a stone pounding on the hearts of the crowd. Especially the mid-primal core stage student who had fallen to the ground. His face was deathly pale. These 30 seconds might be the last of his life. Dean, it'll be too late if we delay any longer. Patriarch Jo-mo said hurriedly from afar. Patriarch Jo-mo knew that Mu Feng wasn't the strongest person in Danwoo College. Only Mu Feng could call out the strongest person in Danwoo College. The others didn't have the slightest idea what to do. Wait a little longer. Mu Feng's expression was solemn as he said in a low voice, I'll call for help in the last 10 seconds. In fact, Mu Feng was also helpless. Patriarch Jo-mo didn't know the full story. Although the strongest person in Danwoo College was powerful, he had only agreed to help Danwoo College 3 times. Out of the 3 times, 2 had already been used. If the 3rd time was used, Danwoo College might be besieged by various forces for a long time to come. Therefore, unless it was absolutely necessary, unless it was a life-and-death juncture, or the moment when the Danwoo Academy was completely annihilated, Mu Feng would not use the 3rd chance. Dean, there's actually another way. Patriarch Jo-mo gritted his teeth. Ouyang Luin is in the pill cavern. Why don't I inform Ningyu and ask him to bring Ouyang Luin out? It's too late. Patriarch Jo-mo took a deep breath and murmured. The pill cavern is quite far from here. 20 seconds won't be enough for a round trip. Even if it's not enough, we can't just sit and wait. We have to try. If Ouyang Luin had come a minute earlier, Danwoo College would have lost 1 Sacred Institute student. Patriarch Jo-mo said fiercely. All right, go and come back quickly. I'll try to delay Mu Tianyi for another 2 minutes. Mu Feng nodded heavily. In fact, Mu Feng had long disliked Ouyang Luin. Chapter 736. No one could blame him. Please wait a moment. When Patriarch Jo-mo heard Mu Feng agree to his request, he hurriedly tore through the void and headed for the pill cavern. However, before Patriarch Jo-mo could tear through the void, an indifferent voice rang in his ears. Swish! Patriarch Jo-mo gritted his teeth when he heard the familiar voice. He stomped his feet and shot into the distance. Humph! I'm giving you face, but you don't want it. Mu Tian snorted when he saw Patriarch Jo-mo defy him. A cold light shot out from his sleeve. The cold light was extremely fast, and it arrived before Patriarch Jo-mo in the blink of an eye. Patriarch Jo-mo's expression turned grave when he saw the cold light. He hurriedly summoned the origin energy in his sea of consciousness and wrapped it around his wrist. Then he sent out a palm print. The palm print was very small at first, but it gradually expanded as it moved forward. In the end, it expanded by several times. Chi! Moreover, the friction between the palm print and the void produced a sizzling sound. Crack! Even though Patriarch Jo-mo had used all his strength to execute this palm print, which had practically emptied out all the origin energy in his sea of consciousness, it was of no use. In an instant, the palm print shattered with a loud bang. Bang! Puchi! Then, 2 crisp sounds suddenly rang out. The first sound came from Patriarch Jo-mo crashing into the ground. The second sound came from Patriarch Jo-mo spitting out a mouthful of blood. The 2 sounds indicated that old ancestor Jo-mo had been gravely injured. Damn it! Mu Feng's face darkened when he saw Patriarch Jo-mo's miserable state. He couldn't help but berate Mu Tian, don't go too far. Don't think that Danwu College has no one. Oh, I never said that Danwu College has no one. Mu Tian revealed a strange expression. Then he changed the topic and said coldly, what I meant was that everyone from Danwu College is trash. Why? Are you not satisfied that I said that Danwu College is trash? Seeing the angry expressions on the faces of the surrounding cultivators, Mu Tian continued, if anyone is not convinced, you can come out and have a match with me. As long as you can withstand 3 of my moves, no, as long as you can withstand 1 of my moves, I will admit my mistake and take out a medicinal pill to treat those 2 pieces of trash. As he spoke, Mu Tian pointed at Patriarch Jiuemo and Li Tongtian. His meaning was clear. Despite Mu Tian's words, no one dared to come forward and fight him. What a joke! Even old ancestor Jiuemo wasn't Mu Tian's match, and Mu Feng was defeated in a single move. Fighting with Mu Tian at this time was tantamount to courting death. All right, since you're all cowards, don't blame me. Seeing that no one had any intention of making a move, Mu Tian shrugged his shoulders and walked towards the fallen mid-primal core stage practitioner. As he walked, Mu Tian said, actually, I didn't want to kill you, but the time was up and no one was willing to save you. I had no choice but to kill you. Don't come looking for me after you die. If you want to blame someone, blame the students of Danwu College, the tutor, the dean. Actually, he doesn't need to blame anyone. Before Mu Tian's words faded, an indifferent voice slowly echoed from afar. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. In the next moment, 4 figures sped past the entrance of the square and landed in the middle of the square. Ningyu, Ouyang Luan. The sudden appearance of several figures caused 2 exclamations in the square. The first exclamation was from Mu Feng. The second exclamation was naturally from Mu Tian. Crack, crack. Ningyu's face darkened as he saw the miserable state of Mu Feng, Patriarch Jiuemo, and Li Tongtian. His hands were clenched so tightly that they cracked. The reason why Ningyu could arrive at the square so quickly was all because of Ouyang Luan. Not long after Mu Feng left the pill cavern, Ouyang Luan hurriedly found Ningyu and told him that the mysterious martial artist from the royal family had come to Danwu College. Moreover, Ouyang Luan said that the mysterious man had a bad temper and was eccentric. If he couldn't find Su Mo, he would most likely start a massacre. Therefore, Ningyu could only leave the Dark Emperor and Fur Ball in the pill cavern while he left with the silver winged dragon and the rest. To be on the safe side, Ningyu also left the flower bud in the pill cavern. After all, there was a pill puppet in the pill cavern. If the pill puppet attacked the Dark Emperor and Fur Ball, the consequences would be unimaginable. Ouyang Luan, get over here. Just as Ningyu was deep in thought, Mu Tian broke the silence and scolded. If you make me unhappy, I will flatten the capital and the royal family. Ouyang Luan heard Mu Tian's words and stood still without any intention of moving. Ouyang Luan's reaction made Mu Tian's face turn ugly. In his opinion, Ouyang Luan must have forgotten his strength. Otherwise, he would not dare to disobey him. Don't say him. No matter what you say, Ouyang Luan will not go over. Ningyu waved his hand and signaled Mu Tian to stop wasting his energy. So, Ouyang Luan has been subdued by you? Mu Tian said darkly. Whether Ouyang Luan has been subdued by me or not has nothing to do with you, right? There were many people here, and Ningyu did not want everyone to know that he had subdued Ouyang Luan. Therefore, he said indifferently, moreover, Ouyang Luan is the old ancestor of the royal family. If he was easily subdued by a martial artist in the middle stage of Yinyang realm, I'm afraid the royal family would have changed a long time ago. You are indeed arrogant, but I don't know if you have the capital to be arrogant, Mu Tian said coldly. As soon as Mu Tian finished speaking, he stomped his feet on the ground and dashed out in an instant. Swoosh! Mu Tian's speed was very fast, and he arrived at Ningyu's side almost in an instant. Then Mu Tian's fist brought an extremely violent Yuan Qi gale, and it fiercely smashed towards Ningyu's head. Mu Tian did not look down on Ningyu, because when Ningyu saw him, although he showed a strong anger, he was still very calm. It should be known that even a martial artist in the initial stage of Fate Realm would not be so calm when he saw him. Therefore, Mu Tian concluded that Ningyu was not simple. Mu Tian always used his full strength to deal with powerful geniuses, and he would not hold back. As soon as Mu Feng made his move, Ningyu's face turned solemn, and he did not dare to have the slightest neglect. In the next moment, a violent Yuan Qi fluctuation appeared on Ningyu's wrist, and it collided with Mu Tian's fist. Bang! The two fists collided, and a muffled sound suddenly rang out. Then the two figures retreated backward. Mu Tian took 3 to 4 steps back before he stabilized his body. As for Ningyu, he only stopped after taking 5 steps back. Just from the surface, it was clear who was superior to the other in this strike. However, only Ningyu and Mu Tian knew the exact situation of the battle. His strength is so strong to be able to block a punch with 50% of my strength. Mu Tian's eyes revealed a hint of shock, but this shock disappeared in a flash and no one saw it. I used 40% of my strength, and this martial artist should have used 50% of his strength. After this move, although it was difficult for Ningyu to judge Mu Tian's true strength, Ningyu could be sure of one thing. Chapter 737. Men of the Supreme Nine Purities Temple. To think that someone would be able to block my attack in a place as remote as the Great Xia Kingdom. Not simple indeed. Mu Tian rubbed his slightly swollen wrist and said calmly, "You're strong and talented. It would be such a waste not to be my follower." "You want me to be your follower? Have you lost your mind, or are you suffering from epilepsy?" Hearing Mu Tian's words, Ningyu let out a look of disdain, not giving Mu Tian any face at all. I, Mu Tian, love dealing with people who think they're infallible. Mu Tian wasn't angry as he continued, "I have 100 ways to kill anyone who dares to go against me." "You want to kill Ningyu? Have you asked us?" Before Ningyu could refute Mu Tian's arrogant words, the silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast beside him couldn't take it anymore. The silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast were infuriated. Kill Ningyu? This was clearly a joke. To the silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast, Ningyu was a moving Shenyang pill manufacturing machine. As long as Ningyu was around, they could continue extorting Shenyang pills. Furthermore, not only did Ningyu owe them 2 Shenyang pills each, he had also promised to give them each a manifestation elixir. The manifestation elixir and Shenyang pill were indispensable items for them to break through to the early stage of the manifestation realm. If Ningyu were to be killed, who could they reason with? Therefore, they couldn't allow Mu Tian to kill Ningyu. Humph! 2 trash demon beasts who haven't even reached the early stage of the manifestation realm dare to talk to me. Mu Tian snorted coldly as his body gradually turned illusory. Watch out! Seeing Mu Tian's body turn illusory, Ningyu knew that something bad was about to happen. Remember this in your next life. There are some people that trash demon beasts like you cannot afford to offend. As expected, the moment Ningyu's warning left his mouth, Mu Tian appeared behind the silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast. Bam! Bam! Mu Tian attacked with both his hands at the same time. 2 fists containing Berserk Yuan Qi landed on the backs of the silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast. The silver Quetzalcoatlus and the twin-horned beast fell forward to the ground, as if they were the Grim Reaper. Puff! Puff! The metallic taste in their throats caused the silver-winged dragon and the twin-horned beast to spit out blood, their auras instantly dropping to the freezing point. TSK, 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 I was wondering how formidable you all were, but it turns out that This is bad. Mu Tian was just about to mock them when his face warped in horror, because he discovered that the silver Quetzalcoatlus and the twin-horned beast had disappeared for no reason. In the next moment, the silver winged dragon and the twin-horned beast appeared at Mu Tian's side. One in front and one behind. Two rays of cold light that contained monstrous energy shot towards Mu Tian at an astonishing speed. At such a close distance, Mu Tian was naturally unable to effectively defend himself. He could only use his physical body to block the two beams of cold light. However, the result was beyond everyone's expectations. Even after withstanding such a powerful sneak attack from the silver winged dragon and the twin-horned beast, Mu Tian still looked as if nothing had happened, standing in place unscathed. Retreat! The silver winged dragon and the twin-horned beast were rather rational. Seeing that their sneak attack had failed, they hurriedly tore through the void and flew to Ningyu's side. Ningyu, this is too difficult. We can't deal with it. I'll leave it to you, the silver winged dragon said in a low voice. If it really doesn't work, then let's retreat. Where there's life, there's hope. The twin-horned beast was very open-minded and suggested to retreat from Danwu College. Retreat? Where do you think you're retreating to? Mu Tian's ears were very sharp. The twin-horned beast's whisper naturally did not escape his ears. So your name is Ningyu. Very well, I'll give you one last chance. Submit to me and become my follower, my dog. Not only will I spare your life, but I'll also release the many elders and students of Danwu College. Oh, right. Not only will you be my dog, but that old trash Oingluan will also enjoy the same treatment as you. Mu Tian continued, how about it? You have 1 minute to consider. When the time is up, don't blame me for not giving you face. Are you that confident that you can defeat me? Ningyu did not answer Mu Tian directly. Instead he said, you're in the middle stage of Yin Yang realm, and so am I. Hold on. How can your middle stage of Yin Yang realm compare to me? Forget it. It seems that the move just now has given you a lot of confidence. I'll let you know what true strength is. As soon as the word strength fell, Mu Tian stomped on the ground and flipped his wrist. A black flying sword appeared in his hand. Ningyu, watch carefully. I'll take your life with this sword. Swoosh! As Mu Tian roared, a shocking sword wave was slashed out from the sky. Chi! Chi! Wherever the sword wave passed, even the air was compressed and sizzled. The surrounding students felt the violent primordial chi contained in the sword wave and quickly retreated, staying away from the area. The fourth style of the Supreme 9 Purities sword art, 9 Purities, sword wave. He's from the Supreme 9 Purities temple. Looking at the huge sword wave that was constantly attacking him, Ningyu's eyes narrowed and revealed a look of disbelief. As soon as Mu Tian executed the sword wave, Ningyu could tell that it was the fourth style of the Supreme 9 Purities sword art, 9 Purities sword wave. Generally speaking, it was almost impossible for outsiders to obtain a supreme offensive technique like the Supreme 9 Purities sword art. Ningyu concluded that the Mu Tian in front of him was most likely someone from the Grand 9 Purities Palace. Let's test him. Although the 9 Purities sword wave that Mu Tian executed was powerful, Ningyu was more familiar with it and knew how to counter it. Therefore, Mu Tian's sword wave couldn't hurt Ningyu. In order to confirm his guess, Ningyu decided to test Mu Tian to see if he was from the Supreme 9 Purities Temple and what kind of relationship he had with the Supreme 9 Purities Temple. Palm of life and death. Ningyu took a deep breath, and the Yuan Qi in his sea of consciousness surged and wrapped around his palm. Then, Ningyu withdrew his palm, and Yuan Qi that was even more violent than the sword wave appeared on the palm. Crack! The 9 Purities sword wave that Mu Tian executed was only the fourth style of the Supreme 9 Purities sword art, while the palm of life and death that Ningyu executed was the sixth style of the netherworld samsara palm. The result was obvious. A cracking sound could be heard as Mu Tian's 9, clear sword ripple, was instantly split in half. After shattering the sword wave, the blood-colored palm did not stop. It continued to attack, wanting to kill Mu Tian. Humph. You think I'm a sick cat if I don't show my power? Seeing that the 9 purities sword wave was shattered, Mu Tian snorted and waved the flying sword in his hand again. In an instant, an even larger sword wave appeared in the air and collided with the blood-colored palm in the air. Crack! Crack! This time, the palm and the sword wave were evenly matched. Neither could do anything to the other, and both dissipated between heaven and earth. He should be from the Supreme 9 Purities Temple. Seeing the second sword wave that Mu Tian executed, Ning Yu could basically confirm that Mu Tian was from the Supreme 9 Purities Temple. Absolute sword wave. Chapter 738. Chapter 738. Turning into a trick. Ningyu, the palm attack you just performed should be your strongest move at this stage, right? Mu Tian held the black flying sword in his hand and said sinisterly, I'm not afraid to tell you that the 2 sword waves are just the appetizer. The main event is coming up next. After saying that, the vitality in Mu Tian's consciousness surged out and was injected into the black flying sword in his hand. Buzz! As the vitality continued to be injected, the black flying sword in Mu Tian's hand vibrated slightly. If I'm not mistaken, Mu Tian is going to perform the 6th form of the Supreme 9 Purity sword skill, Solitaire. Ningyu knew what Mu Tian was going to do as soon as he stuck his butt out. However, the power of Mu Tian's 9 Purity sword wave and absolute sword wave was just SOSO. In fact, they were not even as powerful as Ningyu's. Therefore, Ningyu was not worried that Mu Tian would perform Solitaire. At most, Mu Tian had only cultivated Solitaire to the extreme. Swoosh! However, what happened next completely overturned Ningyu's understanding. In the air, an unusually huge sword wave was formed. Solitaire. Looking at the huge sword wave in the air, Ningyu's pupils contracted and he wore a look of disbelief. In fact, it was no wonder that Ningyu was dumbfounded. Not only was the sword wave much bigger than what he had performed, but its power was also on a different level. At that moment, Ningyu thought of a possibility. Could it be that I haven't cultivated Solitaire to the extreme? Ningyu thought that he had cultivated Solitaire to the extreme. However, it seemed like he was wrong, extremely wrong. Judging from the Solitaire that Mu Tian had performed, he had only grasped the surface of Solitaire. He had not even reached the beginner level. This was King awkward. All right, I want to see what's so special about your Solitaire. Since he didn't know much about Solitaire, Ningyu decided to take the risk and observe Mu Tian's Solitaire up close, because only in this way could he improve further and cultivate Solitaire to the extreme. Although Ningyu had such thoughts, he was not a fool. He knew that he had to protect himself. Shio! While rushing towards the huge sword wave, Ningyu released all of his soul power and stuck it on the surface of his body. Not only that, Ningyu also controlled the essence chi in his sea of consciousness to form a hidden protective barrier around his body, forming the first line of defense. With 2 layers of protection, Ningyu dared to charge toward the sword wave without any fear. He wanted to get to the bottom of it. Not only did the students in the plaza not notice the 2 layers of protection that Ningyu had set up, even Mu Tian did not notice anything amiss. Overestimating yourself. Mu Tian cupped his fists and kept the black flying sword. His eyes emitted a frightening radiance. Whoosh! Mu Tian didn't have much of a reaction, but the students in the plaza were in an uproar. What is Ningyu going to do? Does he think that he can resist the sword wave with his bare hands? Crazy! Ningyu must be crazy. Old Dean, hurry and stop Ningyu. He's clearly courting death by doing this. Ningyu's sudden reaction caused a commotion among the students in the plaza. In the end, There was even a student who reminded Mu Feng to stop Ningyu. At this moment, Mu Feng was really suffering in silence. After being heavily injured by Mu Tian, his aura had dropped to the freezing point, and he couldn't recover. He didn't know what Mu Tian did to him, but no matter how he recovered, no matter what elixirs he took, it was of no use. What is this kid doing? In a corner of the plaza, Silver-Winged Dragon frowned, puzzled. How would I know what he's doing? But don't worry, Ningyu is a smart kid. He definitely won't do something he's not confident in. The twin-horned beast curled its lips. That's true. Silver-Winged Dragon thought about it, and felt that what the twin-horned beast said made sense. Ever since they knew Ningyu, it seemed that Ningyu had never truly fallen into a dangerous situation. This time it seemed that Ningyu was in danger, but there was actually something fishy. After all, with Ningyu's strength, if he wanted to run, he could definitely escape. Since Ningyu wanted to take the risk, it naturally meant that he had his reasons. Crack! While everyone was still discussing, in midair, Ningyu had already arrived in front of Solitaire. 1 second before Ningyu arrived in front of Solitaire, the next second, the first line of defense around him, the Yuan Qi light shield, was directly crushed by the terrifying pressure. I have some idea. The shattering of the Yuan Qi light shield did not stop Ningyu from continuing forward. He discovered a clue, discovered that the solitaire that Mu Tian used was slightly different from the one he used. Ningyu decided to continue forward, to observe Solitaire from a closer distance. Crack, crack, as Ningyu advanced without any regard for the consequences. It caused the Yuan Qi light shield around him to completely shatter. Whoosh! Ning, you would not let this Yuan Qi go to waste. He opened his mouth and sucked the Yuan Qi back into his body. Qi. As Ningyu absorbed the Yuan Qi, his body continued to advance. This time, what was destroyed was the second line of defense formed by the late-stage, 6th grade Soul Force. I know, it's the Soul Force. Just before the second line of defense was completely destroyed, Ningyu's eyes revealed a shocked expression, and he hurriedly retreated. Rumble. If it were not for Ningyu's quick retreat, he would probably have been seriously injured. Because he did not retreat far, Solitaire suddenly exploded, a huge shockwave spreading in all directions. Although Ningyu had left a step earlier, he was also the person in this area closest to the explosion, so naturally he was affected the most. Suffering the impact of the Solitaire's explosion, although Ningyu was prepared, he still spat out a large mouthful of blood, and his aura was slightly weakened. However, compared to the students around the square, the weakening of Ningyu's aura was negligible. I owe my hand. My leg. My eyes, I can't see around the square. Most of the students with low cultivation were paralyzed on the ground, some covering their hands, some covering their legs. There were even some students covering their eyes. Obviously, these students were affected by the shock wave of the Solitaire's explosion, and they suffered unprecedented injuries. Ningyu, don't force yourself. Even in the Grand Supreme, even in my sect, the power of this sword wave can be ranked in the top 5. The corner of Mu Tian's mouth curled up slightly, and he smiled sinisterly. If you can't take it, kneel down and kowtow to me a few times. That way, I can give you a quick death, and you won't die for no reason. Cough, cough. Hearing Mu Tian's words, Ningyu's heart skipped a beat, and he hurriedly coughed twice. In order to make it seem more realistic, Ningyu covered his mouth with his hand and even coughed out a few mouthfuls of blood. Oh no, Ningyu is injured. Seeing Ningyu coughing out blood, Mu Feng's heart sank to the bottom. The current situation was obvious. As long as Ningyu could not defeat Mu Tian, everyone would be finished. You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.